did win the National League Rookie of the Year. Are you going to nominate Casey Schmidt right now, John, 2 days before Mother's Day, to be the National League Roy this year?
I'll do you one better. So what I did was
MVP.
No.
All-Star. Where are you going?
I'm not that insane. I might be clinically insane, but I'm not that insane. But I did do this when I may have made a trip to Nevada before the season started.
Oh, be careful now. Be careful. You could be a Detroit Lion.
That's true. I don't want to get in trouble.
Wide receiver in Jacksonville. I don't want you getting suspended.
They had some Roy odds, and I thought to myself, why the hell not? So he was at about...
Roy Hobbs or Rookie of the Year?
Rookie of the Year. They had some Rookie of the Year odds, and he was quite a ways down the pole there.
A nice return for him,
I got it. So not only could his cards
500 to 1. What do you got?
I ended up getting, I think it was even more than that. I think it was, I'll have to go double check my number, but I think it was around 650 or 850, one of those two. And so, yeah, that'd be a pretty good return. Now, it's not like, I don't have Papa money. So, I mean, I didn't put down enough to be dangerous, but I mean, I could have a couple of nice dinners and maybe a weekend vacation in Napa.
You never text after 2:00 on the text exchange with Mike Kohler and Walter and Danny and our
I did last night though. Yeah,
you were on fire. You never respond except HOF. Casey's different. Special.
Casey's different.
And as a hitter, the one thing is they're kind of feeding his swing a little bit. He hits the home run off of Corbin in his second major league at bat, John. It was a fastball in. The home run, the curveball in. He's fighting off some pitches and taking it up the middle and the other way. The one he was able to bounce over third. He's going to have to adjust a little bit, obviously. I would say, pitch him away a little bit and make him chase out of the strike zone would be wise because he doesn't have a great walk-to-strikeout ratio even at San Diego State or the minors. But right away, defensively, this is where he's just terrific. And obviously, Brandon Crawford is a 4-time Gold Glove winning shortstop. But this guy has got range. I mean, big-time range. He's younger. I think he has more range than when Craw was breaking in years ago. And so you want to be your best at all times. Well, when they were going to sign Carlos Correa in the offseason, John, they were going to move Brandon Crawford off a shortstop, move him to third, or I heard second base. This guy's got more range than even Correa. He is big-time. Now, he's a natural third baseman, but he's taken a shortstop easily. I don't know about playing him at second base. We'll ask him when he joins us at 1 o'clock, and Casey Schmidt will join us at 1, and John will fawn all over him for a good 10 minutes. It's going to be just a slobber fest. So what do you do?
It'll be like Eddie Vedder. Remember when Eddie Vedder joined us years and years ago?
You just embarrassed me.
I was incredibly embarrassed. I was Chris Farley.
You were awestruck. Did you know he was coming out? I think you were Kevin Youkilis set him up.
No, I didn't know at all. And what happened was it was in 2016, and Uke was a regular on our show, and we were doing a thing called the Baseball Hour with he and Eric Burns. And he knows, Theo Epstein very well. And so what he did was...
Big fan, Eddie Vedder, obviously.
And then making the run to the World Series. And he goes, I got a friend here for you. And he hands the phone to Eddie Vedder. And he goes...
You were.
And I remember it exactly because he goes, hey, man, Eddie Vedder here. And I just went...
What'd you say? Eddie? Like John Lawton?
And I just kept saying...
So what are you going to do in case... Because that was by far your worst.
Oh, it was...
What was mine? Terrible. Having Joe Namath on... Kenny say I don't know.
Yeah, Namath was pretty good. You're not. Neither was often starstruck. I would say that, but
you were with Eddie Vedder.
I was for 100%.
And Casey Schmidt for a different reason because he's going to pay for Georgia's college fund.
Yeah, I know because I already spent the money on booze.
The one thing I would just say is, should he play shortstop? I mean, you wouldn't. And Cap said we're not going to move Craw, but what's your best defensive alignment? Take first base out of it. Estrada at second's the best there, right? And that J.D. Davis is playing the hell out of third base, but this guy, Casey Schmidt, I don't know if he's better. I mean, obviously he's 8 for 12 to start. His glove and his arm play, major league right now. But what do you do here? Do you put Craw at third, Schmidt at short, Estrada at second? Do you just I think what it'll be, and Bags will join us later.
Yeah,
I think Casey will play. I think your starting group is Estrada, Craw, J.D. Davis from second, short, third, right? And then because he's the young guy, he just goes wherever you need a day off. And they're not going to overplay Craw like they did early in the year. He's going to be on the Buster plan where it's 2 on, 1 off. Right. So he could go play short. Maybe Estrada doesn't play short anymore. Well, I mean, you've got, 4 quality major league infielders in 3 spots. I mean, that's kind of what baseball does today. You just rotate and you have versatility and give them days off. But how do you make that work? Is it a big deal or not yet?
I would think long term, and again, look, we're playing around with Casey Schmidt a little bit, but I mean, if he shows he's not going to do this, but I mean, like you said, he's got the glove. This isn't just a guy that's got the bat, and we'll see. He's got all of it. I think long term this season, we'll see what J.D. Davis does. He's off to an amazing start, and he's played great at third base. But I almost think that Schmidt's going to be third, Krah's going to be short for one more year, then maybe Schmidt moves there next year. Krah's at short, Tyro's at second, and maybe you're doing some sort of a
Luciano.
platoon.
What do you do with Lucky Luciano?
That's a great point. And then maybe a combination of JD at first base and our good guy full count Lamont, because you don't want him playing against lefties. There's just no way. And you're going to mix guys in. You got
Wilmer Flores is still on the roster. Let's not forget about him.
Who knows? But the kind of, like you said, he just seems to. Now we're only a couple of games into it, but I think this is factual and actual. He seems to just have the it, right? He just has the it.
Do you ever see a guy smile more? And well, believe me, we're going to talk Steph Curry for the next 3 hours and 45 minutes. So we'll get you ready for tonight. I do have my red and gold markers out for your schedule predictions, John. We want to get to the Niners. And the rookies are in town, by the way. Jake Moody is here. They're going to be on the field at Santa Clara at 1 o'clock.
I was thinking about him. I was thinking about him because I did see the interview with him yesterday.
Yeah. Laces in? The Laces in interview?
It was a great interview, and he was talking about the long snapper that couldn't snap. And
right. They did that on purpose.
It was really good. But, he's got a good personality. His hair couldn't be any different than Robbie Gold. He's got great hair. Not your level hair.
His personality could not be any different than Robbie Gold.
Very much
that's a good
so.
thing as well.
So we'll see. But, yeah, I mean, he's a likable guy. I don't know if I'm going to be able to, by the end of the year, still get into the third round thing. But we'll see. If he hits some kicks, seems like a good guy.
His first game is it the most challenging place to kick in the NFL?
Yeah.
I don't even know how to pronounce the name of the since the naming rights changed. I'm going to go with Heinz.
Still
Field.
Heinz.
No, until we get there September the 10th at 10 in the morning, I'll figure out how to say How do you say that company? I don't know.
But his
first game, he's going to be challenged right away.
It's a hard. But you know what?
He's got to go to Western Pennsylvania.
At least it's early in the year, because having lived there, when it gets cold there, it's just a terrible field. And early in the season, at least, you're going to Pittsburgh.
It could be windy,
as bad.
And towards the open end there,
that's
a hard stadium. So.
All right, so as you can tell, we got a ton of stuff going on today. You don't want to miss a minute. Again, Casey Schmidt at 1 o'clock today. But we're going to get things going early. Dave McMenamin is going to join us from ESPN. He covers the Lakers at 10:30, the latest on Anthony Davis. And then we'll widen out the lens a little bit. Jeff Van Gundy's been doing a lot of this series. We had Stan on earlier, so we'll talk to Jeff Van Gundy at 10:50. And again, more on Casey Schmidt with Bags at 11:30, and we go from there. We got a ton of great guests. If you want to watch us on Twitch and YouTube, that's great. You can actually see the.
Am I on Twitch right now, John?
I think you're on you're on both, right?
I am.
You figured out. By the way, I owe you an apology. People said,
why?
Well, because I said...
You said something behind my back I didn't hear?
No, I just said...
I don't recall you saying anything in my face that you didn't apologize for. So what are you apologizing for?
I was walking to the studio today, and I said...
This could be our first show on Twitch and our last show on KNBR.
I said I was walking towards the studio, and I time it out perfectly, and it got a couple of minutes. Walter, our fine producer, one of our fine producers, walks up to me.
You are the Gary Radnich. You step in 10
I had it
seconds
perfect.
before showtime.
And so, so I said, or he says to me, Greg's going to be on camera. You guys are all set. And I go, Greg figured out the camera? So look, my apologies.
Seriously, John? Seriously? See, you're going with, I don't know. I am an IT expert.
You are.
Are you kidding me?
I wouldn't have brought it up unless I owed you an apology. I owe you an apology. You got it. It looks good.
Wow.
I like the hat. You're all set, man. That's I like that rally hat, man.
It's for Casey Schmidt. He's going to turn this team around and rally them to 500.
All right, we got a ton to get to, whether it's schedule game, Casey Schmidt, and a ton on the Warriors and Lakers.
Casey Schmidt at 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock for Casey. We'll get to all of it coming up next, only here on the Sports Leader.
What's trending now? On KNBR.com.
Not great news in a must-win game for the Warriors, of course, down in L.A. Andrew Wiggins listed questionable for Game 6. Got some ribs, a rib issue. I do like ribs, but I do not like Andrew Wiggins with injured ribs. That story and more trending right now on the all-new KNBR app.
Do you realize adding new windows and doors to your home can dramatically change its appearance? Maybe it's now the time for a home facelift. Greg Papa here, suggesting you take a look at the many options at Golden State Window and Door. For inspiration, you can take a virtual tour of one of their showrooms at goldenstatelumber.com. You'll see windows that slide open, slide up, or push out, and some that feature retractable interior screens. Golden State carries the Marvin.
Nation, wherever you are around the globe, stream Gold-Blooded Radio 24/7, 365 on KNBR.com. This is the sports leader.
What's happening? Thanks for joining us. Happy Friday. We got to get a poll going today, too. Wait a minute. Before we get to a discussion on the Warriors, Dave McMenamin is going to join us in about 10 minutes. We'll get the latest on Anthony Davis, latest on the Lakers, and we got to talk about Andrew Wiggins as well. But By the way, I was just talking to our fine program director, Kevin. He said if you go to the all-new KNBR app, you can see it, or KNBR.com. So we're on Twitch, YouTube, but you can just go to the website or the app, and it is there as well, so you can see us. Are you changing hats every
segment, John? I'm the Mad Hatter.
That hat.
I got a hat collection. I never usually wear hats.
No,
but going on
often.
TV, kind of, live streaming at 10 a.m., you're going to see me in a lot of hats. So now I'm wearing the championship hat the Warriors sent me from last year. Ron Krojcik, what the hell was he talking about? Well, it's the injury involving Andrew Wiggins.
Man.
It's not going to be Jonathan Kuminga. Slow your roll here. And Andrew will play. He has a rib cartilage fracture. Andrew Wiggins did get one of these hats last year because he is an NBA champion. And I think after Steph Curry, he was the second most impactful Warrior throughout the entirety of the playoffs. If you had a Conn Smythe in the NBA, he may have won it. The way he had to guard, from Ja Morant to obviously Luka Doncic all the way to Jason Tatum, and what a performance he had last night in the fourth quarter. He's two-way Wiggs, and he's back, and he played so well. But he does have rib cartilage fracture. Kevin Durant had this injury a couple of years ago and missed some games. If it was the regular season, Andrew would not play for a couple of weeks. Kevon Looney had it recently. So I watched it back where it happened, and Anthony Slater posted in The Athletic, and I watched the entire game after. It was only about 5 minutes to go, but he got bowled by LeBron. Steph made that shot left above on the side, and he was going for an offensive rebound, and LeBron, he didn't do it intentionally, the same way Kevon did not intentionally throw his arm out to Anthony Davis. He inadvertently bowed him, but he got him in the ribs, and you could see Andrew grab the ribs right away, and he was in pain. There were times he was playing with it in pain. He did make that big jump hook over Lonnie Walker the fourth, John, right after that, and he got the and one. He went down, and if you remember, he was flat on his back for a long time, and those that were at the arena on Wednesday night saw him grimacing in pain when he was going to the podium. So it's a concern. I don't know if you flak jacket it up to protect it because they know exactly where on the rib cage it is. Do you shoot a painkiller in there? I mean, that's how Justin Herbert became the starting quarterback of the LA Chargers. They did that to a quarterback right before the game, and they missed, and they punctured a lung, Tyrod Taylor. So it's an area where you got to smart bomb them. You can't miss it. And, would you do that? Could you do it through an oral injection of Toradol or something else? I don't know. But I think it's a concern going into the game. What's his pain? It's strictly a pain tolerance situation, I think. Jeff Van Gundy will join us at 10:50, and we'll go into it. I think he'll play. It's obviously it's an elimination game, but he has to play well. He can't just play through it. He has to be able to play
exactly
well.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, it would not be Kuminga may get more minutes. If Andrew Wiggins cannot play, I don't even want to go down that road. I don't know what they would do. Maybe Anthony Lamb, JaMychal Green. I don't know. Moses Moody. That would be a major turn. We were talking about Anthony Davis and his injury, John, with the concussion that was not a concussion, and it sounds like he's going to go tonight. He's probable. If the Warriors lose Andrew Wiggins, that could be a series changer. But whatever way, they can protect him, whether they flak it up or brace it or shoot it up and do it safely to get him to play this game. And then after they win tonight, you got to come back and play Sunday at 12:30. So then you got to do that over again. And then if they win this series, John, the Western Conference Finals will start at Denver. And what the hell happened to KD and Booker last night? My God. We'll get into that later. That was shocking to me, the way they just played so poorly. But that series would start on Tuesday. So is he going to need a painkiller every time he has to do this to deal with the pain of the rib cartilage fracture? It's not a rib fracture. It's a rib cartilage fracture. We know it from KD's injury and more recently Kevon. But this came out of nowhere. I didn't realize it was that bad of a deal, but that'll be something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, it's absolutely huge. They were 25-20 without Andrew this year, but they were 2-10 on the road, but they didn't beat anybody on the road, so I don't know how relevant those numbers are. But like you pointed out, you don't need numbers to realize the difference that he has made. And the thing that is a bummer if this thing, and anybody who's had a rib injury, whether you fell skiing or it's just a really difficult thing. And then now compound that with the fact that you're going to have to play an NBA basketball game, and there is going to be physicality. So I know you can shoot those kind of things up. I know you can flak jacket that thing, but who knows what kind of a player he is, because he's coming off his best game since his return, and one of his best games of the year where he scores 25. He plays great defense. And so you think to yourself, man, the Warriors are rolling. And like you said, I don't know who they would put in there, but this is a massive loss for the Warriors just when they were starting to roll.
Well, he's not down yet, and let's see what the severity of it is. And we're talking like it's football. I mean, in football, you'd shoot it up or you'd orally inject him, Toradol, and you'd flak jacket it up. But in football, they're playing with shoulder pads and a chest plate where you can add something to those areas to protect it a little bit more. Basketball players don't play with that. How would that? A lot of guys don't even like shooting sleeves. They don't want to have anything on their arms at all. So I'm sure he spent yesterday, going over it and just what he would wear if he wears anything at all. So the big thing is to see when he comes out, and you could kind of tell. He may be a little thicker in the midsection if he's wearing a flak jacket or something. But the other side of it, and we'll talk to Coach Van Gundy, Jeff Van Gundy at 10:50, John, about the flopping and the gamesmanship. And, the Warriors know Anthony Davis is a little wobbly going into this. I don't know if he's completely, clear of any concussion, fallout. If he takes a hard hit tonight, would he be more likely to suffer another head trauma in light of what happened to him the other night, even though he wasn't deemed with a concussion? If they just splatter him on a screen and it's a routine NBA play, and they're going to seek him out a little bit to light him up, would that exacerbate the probability that he would have another head trauma? And the Lakers know it's right there with Andrew Wiggins. You can see where he was grabbing his rib cage. There was a point earlier in the series when Anthony Davis was grabbing his rib cage as well. And I wondered if he'd be able to come back. And so they know these things, and you're getting towards the end of a series where, one hard pick or one elbow in the right spot can knock a player out. So we'll see. But I think he'll play, but who knows the severity of it. They're not going to let it on. But, those two injuries are going to be a huge factor going into this Game 6 tonight.
Let's talk all about it. Dave McMenamin is going to join us coming up next. Does a tremendous job covering the Lakers for ESPN, and he was all over the Anthony Davis story. What is the latest on Anthony Davis, and a preview from the Lakers' standpoint of a critical and must-win again Game 6 in L.A. We'll do it next, only here on the Sports Leader. Your old friend John Lund here for my friends at the Dolan Law Firm. It was a rough winter for many of us with the heavy rains and dangerous driving conditions. And unfortunately, our friends at the Dolan Law Firm, they saw a sharp increase in accident and injury cases as a result. The bad weather wasn't the only thing that made the winter difficult, as we all saw people affected by mass layoffs, especially in the tech industry. The Dolan Law Firm's Employment Practices Group also saw an uptick in unlawful terminations, discrimination, and sexual harassment cases. Now that bad weather is behind us, and it looks great this weekend, our friends at the Dolan Law Firm, they want to remind everyone to please be aware that good weather brings out pedestrians, motorcyclists, scooters, bicyclists, and children playing. So let's work together to make sure the Bay Area is a safer place. And for employees, go to dolanlawfirm.com to learn more about your rights. The award-winning law firm has secured over $1 billion. I said $1 billion with a B. $1 billion in verdicts and settlements on behalf of their clients. Headquartered right here in the Bay Area. They live here. They work here. They win here. dolanlawfirm.com.
Papa and Lund Show now continues. Download the KNBR app and listen anywhere, anytime. We are KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Stephen A. Smith is many things. A doctor, thankfully, is not among them. Thanks for joining us. Big game tonight. Must win again for the Warriors and take on the Lakers. Got a lot of injury issues going on late in the season and so forth into the playoffs. You got Andrew Wiggins potentially compromised or out because of an issue with the ribs, and Anthony Davis. And Dave McMenamin does a great job covering the Lakers at McTen. Make sure that you follow him and read all his stuff and watch him on ESPN. And he was all over the Anthony Davis situation, covers the Lakers for ESPN, and joins us courtesy of the Uma guest line. Hi, Dave. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for making the time. We appreciate it. So I think he's avoided concussion protocol. Everything sounds good, but just kind of give us the latest. What's going on with Anthony Davis?
Yeah, he has avoided concussion protocol, and the Lakers have him listed as probable. They don't even have any head injury on their injury report. They have him as probable because of the foot injury that caused him to miss 20 games earlier in the season. I reported yesterday, a source close to Davis told me that he couldn't envision any scenario where Davis would not play in Game 6. And so, yeah, you can not pencil him into the lineup. You can Sharpie him into the lineup tonight. He'll be playing in a potential closeout game for the Lakers. And obviously, the Lakers have home court advantage on their side. They stole it by splitting the first two up in the Bay to begin the series, and they've gone 6-0 at Crypto.com Arena these playoffs. But when I mentioned that stat to LeBron after Game 5, he said, well, it doesn't really matter. We just got to look at it like we got to go 1-0 on Friday. And clearly, the way LeBron's spoken about the Warriors this series, and Anthony Davis as well, there's a great deal of respect and, I don't know if fear is the right word, but a recognition that you can never feel comfortable in the position that you are against this team. We saw it in Game 5. The Lakers had a great game plan. First quarter and a half, it's tit for tat. And then over basically a 7-minute period to end the second quarter and start the third, Warriors go on a 25-7 run, and it's over. I mean, the rest of the game, the other 41 minutes, was basically a standstill. But in those 7 minutes, the Warriors won the game, and that's why the Lakers can't feel comfortable going into tonight.
Dave, you guys obviously work for the same company, so I'm not going to get you in trouble. We came in with Stephen A. ripping the concept of him being concussed in an NBA game, and after on the post-game show, you got, guys that played in the league and were physical players like Shaq and Charles and Kenny giggling at the prospects of him suffering a concussion. It's just so unprofessional. But my question to you is about Anthony Davis and the perception of Anthony Davis. He has played more games over the last few years than Steph Curry has. Now, Steph's had bad injuries, but, AD has just had a lot of them. And that's been the thing on him is he can't stay healthy. In game one of the Memphis series, we saw him with the shoulder stinger. And at one point, he was like, I can't raise my arm. And then, it was only temporarily. But he goes down hard. He's got the hip, situation, the foot. You've watched him play a lot. Clearly, he's a great defensive player. He's an all-NBA top 75 player. I mean, people forget about his impact. How would you categorize the way people look at Anthony Davis physically, Dave?
Just before I answer the question, I can't really go back and forth if we're going to be using nicknames of my colleagues like that. Like, it's just that's not how I operate. So I'd rather move on.
Okay, I'll never use that. But can you answer my question? I mean, how would you, Charles has called him, street clothes AD? I mean, how would you categorize, when you watch him play, how he is physically versus the perception of the way Anthony Davis is physically, Dave?
Anthony Davis is one of the most talented players in today's game. When he's healthy, he dominates. He's had some bad luck. Certainly last season, the injuries that cost him, I would posit any player in the league would miss time. He had LeBron James reject the screen. Jaden McDaniels fell into his knee. He missed time for that. And then later on, once he had come back, Malik Monk threw him a bad lob pass. Rather than let the ball be a turnover, he leaped up to grab it, came down on Rudy Gobert's size 21 sneaker, turned his ankle, missed time for that too. Like, that's bad luck. There's been other times, you mentioned these playoffs, where he feels pain and has to go get treatment. He's never missed a game these playoffs. He's missed parts of games. He's never missed a game. And you see people around the league, Kawhi Leonard, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Jimmy Butler, Chris Paul. All those guys have missed games these playoffs. Anthony Davis hasn't.
Dave McMenamin joining us, Lakers and Warriors tonight from L.A. as we get you ready for it. Dave does a great job covering the Lakers. It's all over the Anthony Davis story in game number 5. In regards to potential lineup changes, obviously back and forth this whole thing, everybody's making adjustments. Do you expect the Lakers to change anything up?
I asked Darvin Ham about it yesterday on the conference call he had with reporters, and obviously the rhetoric has been that, yes, we need to play great defense to have a chance against the Warriors, but it has to be more than that. We have to match offense with offense, and the player that stood out in their lineup of these last 3 games as really not carrying his weight on both ends is Jared Vanderbilt. He's 0 for 8 the last 3 games. He's already had his minutes cut, and you could go with Lonnie Walker, who's found something on offense these last couple of games. You could go with Rui Hachimura, who was a really wonderful player for them in the first round against Memphis, and has had spots this series, but hasn't been as consistent. Darvin basically said, we are considering making a change, but on the other side, we have to look at it like the group that's gotten us to this point have won 3 games against the Warriors already this series. And so I'm curious to see what happens. If I had to guess, and obviously my job is to report and not guess, but I haven't been told definitively if they're going to make a change or not. But if I had to guess, knowing Darvin, I think they'll stick with the same starting group, but I guess we'll find out for sure in about 7-8 hours.
Yeah, I mean, Jared Vanderbilt's not playing a whole lot, Dave. He doesn't, he's playing 10 minutes and 58 seconds last game. The Warriors are not guarding him and giving him that short corner 3, and he's just not making it. It's beyond me why he doesn't drive that sometimes and try to press the action. But this series started, and we thought, would his lack of offense get him off the floor because he's such a great defender, but he's just not playing a lot because his offense is not there. But my question is, he's so good on Steph, and I thought in game 1 he locked and trailed him very well. He fought through screens, and Darvin changed the pick-and-roll defense. He's gone to blitzing Steph Curry, to switching it. Now we'll see where Anthony Davis is physically. But just give me your thoughts, because I think that's the essence of the game tonight. When the Warriors have the ball, is how Darvin and Phil Handy, use their defense and their concepts. But they've tried the lock and trail, they've tried the blitz, they've tried the switch. What do you think they do? What has worked the best against the Warriors?
Well, certainly against Steph Curry, I agree with you. Game one was the most effective defense they've had against him. Despite, Steph being an all-time great, he's had a very good series, particularly with the ball in his hands. The adjustment the Warriors made was in game one, it was Steph playing off the ball, and the denial defense that Jared Vanderbilt was implementing was so effective. Where either by the time Steph gets the ball, he's kind of tired out because he's had to zigzag all around the half court in order to get a sliver of open space to get the ball, or just straight up denial where he doesn't get the ball on certain possessions. Now the Warriors have started with the ball in his hands. It's led to him playing more of a facilitator role. And again, that would be the danger of going away from a guy like Vanderbilt on him to have that constant pressure. But you saw the pressure that Lonnie Walker was able to apply to him, particularly in the second half of Game 4, and certainly, Lonnie Walker can bring you more offense. That maybe that is the solution here. But again, just having covered Darvin all year long, and maybe this is part of his coaching tree influence, having been part of Mike Budenholzer's staff for so long, but he seems to be a guy that usually sticks to his guns and sticks with what he believes has already been established as working versus trying to make changes looking ahead.
Dave McMenamin joining us. ESPN covers the Lakers, does a tremendous job, and remember him in Game 5 all over the Anthony Davis situation, Pop and Lund here on the Sports Leader. In regards to how they're looking at this game, obviously it's must-win for the Warriors, but you don't want to come up for a Game 7 after having a 3-1 lead. So what do you expect their urgency level to be tonight?
It should be through the roof. I would think so, because you go to Chase Center for Game 7, your season's over. I can't imagine a scenario where the Warriors lose that game. And so you have to fully sell out, and whether that is 40-plus minutes for their stars, I believe that would be the case. Both LeBron and Anthony Davis, I'm sure, because this is the same rhetoric that we had in the first round when the Lakers go up 3-1, go to Memphis, lose by 17 in Game 5, come back home, and in the day leading up to Game 6, Darvin Ham was telling us as reporters that I have assurances from my guys that they're going to give whatever it takes in this Game 6, so it doesn't go to a Game 7. And so I believe the rotation will reflect that. You get a ton of minutes out of those top guys. And, again, LeBron kind of dismissed the notion that being undefeated at home gives them automatic advantage. But it has been a great home crowd from my perspective covering these games. And so, on a Friday night, Los Angeles, chance to close things out, chance to get to the Western Conference Finals. I imagine if the team gives them a reason to cheer, they should have the crowd on their side. If they can get an early lead, I think they could have a snowball effect we saw in Game 6 against Memphis. And I'm not saying the Grizzlies are the Warriors. The Warriors are of a different ilk. But Game 6 against Memphis, Lakers started rolling early, and then it was just a celebration the rest of the night. They won by 40.
D'Angelo Russell went off in that game. He had 31 points, and he was hitting that mid-range shot, and Anthony Davis's defense was smothering. You mentioned Darvin Ham. Just give me your thoughts overall on him as a coach, and then the Laker perspective on Steve Kerr calling them out for flopping. And he's done it, I think, 3 times in post-game and pre-game interactions with the media, and in particular Lonnie Walker the fourth, and the one screen on Draymond at the end of Game 4. You could hear Darvin, when he's asked about it, kind of snipe back. What is the Lakers' response to what Steve's been saying?
Oh, it's bothered them. It's gotten under their skin, and I obviously believe that Steve's motivations for calling it out would be to call attention to Secaucus and the NBA's referees board, and so that's something that is on their minds. But it could be an unintended consequence from Steve Kerr to fire up guys like LeBron and the rest of the guys on the Lakers roster. LeBron was not mincing words after Game 5 when asked about it, basically calling it a preposterous statement by Steve. And trust me, Steve is someone that LeBron over the years has offered a ton of respect for, but this is not one where he's accepting Steve's observations with much respect. And so, those stuff, that's all great stuff for us to talk about in between games. I don't think those words or even the flopping will really ultimately affect how things go tonight. It's going to come down to, I think, the team that is defending harder, the team that is hitting the boards harder, and then the team that has their shot falling. That's basketball can get pretty rudimentary. All the other stuff, though, does make it more intriguing as we get ready for tip-off.
Dave, great stuff. Appreciate it. Again, great work with the Anthony Davis story. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
Yep, thanks for having me on.
You got it.
Thank you, Dave.
Dave McMenamin, ESPN, at McTen, MCTEN. McTen, that's how you can follow him along. That's the Lakers side of things. Let's get a national perspective. Our good friend Jeff Van Gundy is going to join us from ABC and ESPN. How does he see this Game 6? We'll get into it next, only here on the Sports Leader.
And I'm Greg Papa, constantly on KNBR, and whether you are retired or planning on being retired, which I would like to be right now, when you want to know if you're paying too much in fees or taking on simply too much risk, or even going to be able to live the lifestyle that you have always envisioned in retirement. For more than 3 decades, my friend Greg O'Donnell has been helping people like you plan, protect, and pass on their wealth to their loved ones. If you are interested in learning how O'Donnell Financial Group can help you and your family, then give him a call. Greg and his team are a breeze to talk to. Great guy, big Bay Area sports fan, very excited about Casey Schmidt and the Warriors, and there's no cost or no obligation at all. So call them today at 866-496-2300 or visit online o'donnellfinancialgroup.com. That's 866-496-2300, because planning is a process, not a product.
Listen to the sports leader anywhere, anytime. Download the all-new KNBR app. Now back to Papa and Lund live from the KNBR Casino Matrix Studio. Casino Matrix Progressive Jackpots are here. Where are you? Just drop in. Please play responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
That is Darvin Ham. We're expected to be joined by Jeff Van Gundy momentarily, of course, with our friend Mike Breen and Mark Jackson. So we're going to hear from Jeff in a minute. We did have Stan Van Gundy, who's been doing this series as well for TNT with our good friend Brian Anderson, BA, and Chris Haynes, that group. We had him on earlier, so we'll have both the Van Gundys. Maybe we'll get some hot dog talk.
This has got to be NBA history. They have had every game of this series, and they will. You know, Jeff and Mike Breen and Mark Jackson, Lisa Salters will have the night, and they'll have Sunday if it goes to a Game 7 back at Chase Center at 12:30. I can't recall two brothers being the lead analyst. Maybe the Van Arsdale twins, but they didn't do TV. I mean, who would even be a candidate, John? But the Van Gundys, we've had Stan on about half the series, and now Jeff takes over for Games 6 and 7 after Games 2 and 3. This has got to be NBA history, right?
Let's talk to him. Jeff Van Gundy joins us. Of course, the better Van Gundy brother joins us, courtesy of the UMA guest line. How are you, Jeff?
Oh, how are you guys?
Yeah, we're doing great. We just came in with Darvin Ham, and he was talking about Anthony Davis. Just give us your thoughts on just what you saw from Anthony Davis and how different are the Lakers if he's compromised at all?
Yeah, Davis to be not only available, but to play excellent basketball for them to have a chance to beat the Warriors. And they've got to come up with something that they can do against the Curry high pick and roll when it involves Davis, what they want to try to accomplish, what they can live with, what they can't live with. It's really hard cover. And so it's going to be interesting to see what they have.
Yeah, and Darvin Ham and Phil Handy and his staff coach have changed their coverage in that Curry pick-and-roll action from early in the series. Jared Vanderbilt just kind of stayed with Steph. He locked and trailed, and they were able to win Game 1. And then he went to blitzing it more, putting 2 on the ball, and Steph had the 12-assist game, and the Warriors won. And then he went to switching it more. What exactly do you think has been the best coverage for Steph Curry? Do you have to keep changing it up? And what do you think he does tonight?
Well, I think what you've seen is that the Warriors have done a good job playing Vanderbilt off the floor. He was the primary matchup for Curry in the first 2 games. Since then, his minutes have decreased because they're ignoring him at the offensive end of the floor, and because the 2 on the ball strategy is a death knell because it allows Draymond Green to play in the pocket and then do such a great job in playing 4-on-3 and making the right reads. I think the only thing that ever works to slow the Warriors down, it necessarily doesn't slow Curry down, but it can slow the Warriors, is don't put your 5 on Draymond Green because those pocket passes are his strength. I would play LeBron James on Green and Davis on Peyton and live with any Peyton corner jump shots, and I would switch the pick and roll.
Jeff Van Gundy joining us, of course, with our friend Mike Breen, Mark Jackson. They've got the call for Warriors and Lakers Game 6. It's Pop and Lund here on the Sports Leader. As far as a coach yourself, as a former coach yourself, when you get to this point in a series of Game 6, are there a lot of changes that can still be made, or are you just up now it's about execution because they've seen it so many times?
More about execution, but also excellence of your players. You saw last night in the Philly game, right? James Harden had one of those nights, 4 for 16. And, Tatum was on one of those historic bad games, and then he was able to make enough that they were able to survive. And so, you can make a lineup change, you can make a rotation tweak, probably not any big schematic change as far as how you're going to cover something. But certainly the rotation can change. Like you saw in Boston last night, they only played 7 guys and started Robert Williams. I think the Warriors have done what the Warriors are going to do. They went to Peyton. You saw a little bit more with Green and Looney together in Game 5. It'll be interesting to see if they sneak those minutes in again. But really, it's going to come down to the excellence of the players. And that's why if you're a Warrior fan, you got to feel pretty good to be only down 3-2. Curry's been pretty good, but not spectacular like we're accustomed to. Klay Thompson has been below average. Wiggins got it going last game. So I think they've got a lot of things that they can point to that they can do better without doing things any differently.
You were on the call, Coach, for the game 2 weeks ago. We're talking about late series adjustments when, Mike Brown came to Chase Center looking to make a change in the series with the Warriors down 3-2 and force Game 7. And he did make a change, and you were all over it. Sabonis didn't play as much. He played Trey Lyles as a shooting 5. He went to a small group, and that flipped the game. The Warriors were kind of thrown by that. Conversely, tonight, you were talking about Vanderbilt. The Warriors are not guarding him. They're Tony Alling him and just roaming off of him. And he's not as involved in the Curry action defensively. So is it a possibility, even though they're up 3-2 in this series, Coach, that Darvin Ham may make a lineup change? Maybe Dennis Schroeder would give him the best combination of on-ball defense against Steph and the offense that he's lacking in Vanderbilt?
I think absolutely that could happen. And I think if you're going to start Vanderbilt, you put him on Curry. And I don't care who plays Draymond Green other than I don't want it to be Anthony Davis. To me, if Vanderbilt's not going to guard Curry and he's going to be a shooting liability, he's only played 11 minutes the last 2 games, but those are 11 hard minutes to try to figure out how you're going to score against a really good defensive team like the Warriors are.
Jeff Van Gundy joined us. We're talking Warriors and Lakers. Of course, a must-win for the Warriors in L.A. tonight. Pop and Lund here on the Sports Leader. We talked about if Anthony Davis was compromised at all tonight. If Andrew Wiggins is compromised, had 25 last time out. He really looks like he was the guy that helped him win a championship last year. How are the Warriors different, and what do you do if he is compromised or out?
Well, I can't believe he'd be out. Although, Ayton sat out last night, so I shouldn't say, it's impossible. But I would think Wiggins would play. Now, it's how impactful he can be. Obviously, he's playing against, extremely physical LeBron James. But I love how Wiggins plays. He plays in a complementary role. He doesn't hunt shots, but he is aggressive. He knows he can go in the post and score against some of these guys. He'll defend. And the biggest thing is he can give you huge minutes. Tonight, if Steve Kerr needed 42, 44 minutes from him, he could definitely do it. He's just one of those rare athletes who does not get tired. And obviously, if he's not available, as hard as that is for me to fathom, that would obviously hurt their chances very much.
Coach, last time the Warriors were in this building at Crypto down in Southern California, there was a flop, is what Steve Kerr called it out, on Lonnie Walker IV against Draymond Green, and Draymond got hot. The Warriors were really upset about it. Steve mentioned a couple of situations where he thought the Lakers were flopping, but then, after watching the game film the next day, he doubled down, and they actually tripled down on that particular play, and he's been talking about the integrity of the game and the FIBA rules since he coaches Team USA, and you obviously coach in international basketball. Just give me your thoughts overall on what Steve is doing, the flop and the block charge dilemma in the NBA, and should they alter the rules in the NBA and be more like FIBA to try to take the flopping out of the game?
Well, they have it, in the rules now. You fine them. But when's the last time you've seen a fine for flopping? When they first went to the flopping rules, I thought it had a huge impact. And unfortunately, I think all of this has been loosened up. It's a hard enough game to officiate. And then you've got guys who try to trick you out. You run full speed, and even if it's a legal screen, you run into it, you fall down, and the referees react. And I think it's as much a referee issue as a flopping issue. You know why players flop? Because it works.
They get away with it. Right.
Right. It works. If you didn't give them the call, or in fact you went the opposite way, and every time there was an embellishment of contact, whether it was an illegal contact or not, every time they embellished the contact, you were called for the foul, you would eliminate flopping. Flopping could be eliminated if the NBA wanted it to. And they have to give the power to the officials to not only not give the calls to the floppers, but also to, even on illegal contact, if they embellish it, call the foul on them. I am so tired of watching guys run around, falling down, grabbing their face, trying to get like a call or an upgrade to a flagrant foul. I think it really hurts our game. I don't understand why we've loosened up in that area. And unfortunately, the players are really smart. They find something that works. They find officials who can be tricked, and they go to it. And until the officials aren't tricked, there's in the Eastern Conference, Kyle Lowry is a master tricker of officials. And the officials always say they're studying film. Well, if you're studying film, you know who the guys are who are the ultimate floppers, trickers, whatever you want to call them. You've got to be slower with the whistle and not react. And, I agree with Steve, but it's not just about the Lakers. I agree with Steve. League-wide, it's gotten back out of hand, needs to be corrected, and the NBA has the power to correct it immediately.
It's Jeff Van Gundy with us, Pop and London on KNBR AM and FM San Francisco, the Sports City, our Cumulus Media station. I got to tell you, Jeff, you were one of my favorites before, and now I love you deeply because. But it's exactly what you said, and it's not about the Warriors. To me, it's kind of similar to the pitch clock in baseball now. I didn't know if I'd like it, but it's moving the game and it's keeping it faster, and there's a nice rhythm to the game. Every time that happens, first of all, it's bad acting, but then also it stops the game completely. The rhythm of the game is broken. It's all these different things. And I'm not trying to hearken back to the good old days and the physicality. I understand that. I just want a game that is more rhythmic. And if guys are constantly trying to fool the officials and the game is constantly stopping, it's just not as good to watch.
No. And quite frankly, everybody's come up with terms like, oh, he did a good job, he sold the call. Like, faking contact is not an NBA skill, or should not be an NBA skill. It is right now. But I think the full blame goes to the league office, to the officials for not getting it corrected. If you're the league office, you empower your officials to correct it and correct it now. It's a blight on our sport.
All right, let's go over to the offensive side. We talked about how the Lakers are going to defend, the Warriors on offense. When the Lakers are on offense, coach, and the Warriors are on defense, and we saw it not as much in Game 5 at Chase as we did in Game 4 at Crypto, but that whole fourth quarter started, and it's where Lonnie Walker, the fourth, got going, was LeBron constantly, whoever Steph Curry was guarding, set a screen for LeBron. They switch on to LeBron, and then that's what got Lonnie going against Andrew Wiggins and a few other plays. How would you like the Warriors to handle that? Should they just allow the switch to happen and have Steph guard LeBron James? Can you fight through that? Can you go under screens? Can you send Draymond Green up? Whoever's guarding Steph, that guy comes up. Don't have Steph come up. Have your Draymond go up, because we're going to see this, especially if the game is tight in the second half. James is going to hunt Curry in the pick and roll. You saw it those 4 straight years in the finals with Cleveland. How should the Warriors handle that, do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a lot different than it was. James is not nearly the aggressive offensive force that's just pounding the paint, pounding the low post. You look back at those finals when he was in Cleveland, like he was at the rim and in the post and in the paint the entire game, right? That's not the same. He either doesn't have the energy, where he's great still. If you get him the ball in transition, straight line to the basket, no chance, right? He's still fabulous. I don't think in the half court, like he's not nearly as active or aggressive. So I think Curry's faced this so many times. Like, I like when he shows out and they stay with their original matchups, but I'm also not afraid if Curry has to, on occasion, switch late clock, that he holds up and makes James take, a tougher shot. I think the bigger issue is, what do they do? Like, to me, the Warriors' offense is the absolute key to their defense. If they don't turn the ball over, their defense will be fine. If they don't foul, then their transition offense can be dominant, because that's the Lakers' weakest spot. So to me, I know it sounds so simple, but it's like, don't turn it over, get shots up at the basket, and don't foul to slow down your transition opportunities. To me, those are the two keys. If they're able to do both of those, I think they have a really good shot at winning tonight and extending the series.
Jeff Van Gundy joining us. Obviously, Jeff, not expecting Draymond to score 20 every single night. They did get a nice contribution, 13 from GP2, but I got to believe that they got to get Klay going to win this game, to win this series. Is there something from a coaching standpoint that you would do to try to get him going?
No, and I think it's like, Thompson shoots the same shots when they go, they're hard shots. On the move, 3-point shots, those are difficult shots, and those are his shots. And so, I think for any player, if he can find his way to a layup, if he could find his way to the free throw line, get an offensive rebound. I think he only has one in the series. Do something from an effort standpoint to make, to get an effort basket or an effort, 2 free throws to get yourself going. I think that always helps. But Thompson's going to be, with the shots he takes, they're very hard to defend and very hard to make. And if he's making them, they have a good shot. But if not, they've still proven that they can win. And I think that's the beauty of it. Curry hasn't been really great. He hasn't been just out of this world like he was against Sacramento in a Game 7. He could have a big game. Thompson could have a big game. I think they actually have more things that could get better in this game than the Lakers. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens.
Jordan Poole, after going scoreless in Game 4, did have a ball fake early in Game 5, knocked down a shot. He made 5 baskets overall. He missed 9, but he made 1 3, 1 of 6 from the floor. What are you seeing from his offensive game tonight, and how does Steve handle him as far as the leash goes if he does come out and struggle tonight, Coach?
Well, I think when he shoots on balance shots, he shoots a pretty good percentage. I think his degree of difficulty shots are out of this world. He takes incredibly difficult shots, highly contested, off balance, legs splayed out. And so to me, just like most players, if you take good shots, you have a much better chance of being an efficient player. And then defensively, he's got to join the fray, put your body in front of people, try to come up with a loose ball, a long rebound, take a charge, do the hard things, the contact things. That's not a strength of his, but that doesn't mean he can't do it tonight. So I think everybody's leash from a role-playing position or a complementary player position is going to be like it is in any elimination game. It's short. If you find a group that's working well, you're going to ride it. And so I think Poole can be part of that solution. It starts with making harder, tougher, more physical plays defensively and taking on-balance shots.
Great stuff. Jeff Van Gundy, NBA analyst for ESPN. Mike Breen, our good friend. And, of course, Mark Jackson on the call tonight for Warriors and Lakers. Thank you, Jeff. Great stuff. We appreciate it.
All right.
Take care.
And there he goes.
And like that, he's gone. Yeah, he is definitely.
Well, you sucked up to him hard there.
Oh, I did. But, you know what? He
doesn't like flopping. You don't like flopping.
No, he doesn't. And in fact, I put together a little piece about LeBron James on social media, and in most of the calls of the disgust of the flopping over the years for him has been Van Gundy. He hates it. So I knew we could get him going a little bit on that. So that was good.
Dennis Schroeder also was a flopper.
Schroeder's big in any screen. Any screen. that is said. It's just like send somebody in like the third row. I don't know.
But that's part of the game.
It is. Look, I'm not blaming
selling a call. There's nothing wrong with that.
And as long, and that's the thing is Warriors fans are getting frustrated, but as long as they're going to call the game that way, my frustration would be that the Warriors aren't embellishing enough. Because if that's the game and they're getting the calls like Jeff Van Gundy says, then you're doing a disservice to your team if you don't do that. I don't like it, but those are the rules. You play by them until they change.
Pull out the match today, Steve.
Yeah.
Embellish the call.
It's just like
John
said,
Goble
Nelly
is your crew chief, Courtney Kirkland your referee, and Mark Lindsay your umpire.
Does that mean anything to you? Is that it one way or the other?
Courtney Kirkland gets into the weight room a lot, John. He is well.
Does he? I would too.
I bet he could do 225 on the bench at least 25 times.
If I was an official in any sport, I would do that too. I'd be rocked up. Because they come up to you and start screaming at you.
Well, now that you're a radio host that is on Twitch, don't you want to be rocked up as well? This could bring out a whole new you, Jim.
Yeah, I'm on my summer bod diet. I'm down about 15. I got about 10 more, and then I'll come in here tank top.
If you laid off the alcohol, you would drop another 15 like that, but that's not a consideration.
Yeah.
Hey, when are we doing this? When are we going red and gold?
I'm getting ready. Let's see. We got bags at 11:30, so maybe we'll do a little Casey Schmidt smooching next, and then we'll do exactly.
What's the nickname for him? We got to come up with a poll.
We do
Mighty Casey Schmidt happens.
Yeah, anything.
What do you want?
Anything in regards to the Schmidt.
There is joy in Giantville. What's a good nickname? Mighty Casey, right?
Yeah, people do like anything to do with Schmidt. When like Brock Purdy.
About Schmidt.
Everything was Purdy this and Purdy that. Now everything's about Schmidt, and they're making, of course, this. The comparison with that.
See, Mighty Casey is the offensive side. I didn't think he'd be this good offensively. He is the real deal defensively. So, Mighty Casey,
in fact,
never strikes out.
Didn't they do that last night? I think they did that last night when they, in fact, Darren Chan, I think, sent this out when they did their players of the game last night. The boys, one of them, I can't remember who picked what, but one of them picked Casey on offense.
In the post-game wrap?
Yeah. One of them picked Casey on offense, one of them picked Casey on defense. That's how good.
Yeah, I think Flem picked him on offense.
He's like Shohei.
He's two guys. We got to ask him about that. He was a closer at San Diego State.
Yeah,
why can't he pitch?
Yeah, I was going to say the Giants could use some bullpen help. Can he pitch too? All right. Again, Casey Schmidt at 1 o'clock today, so make sure you tune in for that. Bags at the bottom of the hour, so a little baseball for you. And then I think what we'll do is Matt Maiocco's joining us at 12:15. So maybe we should we do the
11:50? We go red and gold report.
Let's do 11:50. Yeah, because then we do that into Maddie, and I know he did it too. And then he had the event the other night that was really, really cool. So for the Golden Heart Foundation, so we'll ask him about that. And Kyle had some things to say about the quarterback, so don't miss him at 12:15. And above everything else today, you can check us out. Just go to the app or KNBR.com, and you can see the live stream. It's on YouTube, Twitch. It's all over the place. Papa looks beautiful. As always, do not miss
I changed shirts again, John.
I saw that.
Segment, a new outro.
I'm going to do the same thing.
You know why? Because I can write off this T-shirt now.
Exactly, and I like the hat. That's beautiful.
Although I didn't pay for either. I'm still going to... No, just kidding.
No, you're not kidding.
Where's Moskowitz when I need him?
Exactly.
LLC.
We'll do that. And a little Casey talk. We got a ton of stuff today, and we'll get back to the words as well. It's Papa and Lund, and we look beautiful. We look marvelous. Only here on the Sports Leader.
Here's what's trending now. On KNBR.com.
The great, and I do mean great, Mike Krukow, he joined Murph and Mac to discuss the hot start of Casey Schmidt, who joins the show at 1 o'clock, and how the plan may look when Brandon Crawford comes back. That podcast and more trending right now on the all-new KNBR app. It's our good friend, Steve Moskowitz. We always love talking to Steve. And today, we're talking about if you can't pay your taxes. What do you do then, Steve?
You call us and don't worry about it. There's so much we want to do for you. And also, if you haven't heard from the IRS for a while, they're just getting ready to send out a ton of new notices. And they have all these new agents. And they're going to be coming after people. So the bottom line is, if you have some taxes that you can't pay, whether the IRS is currently chasing you or not, give us a call. Let's go over all the options. There's a lot of good options, whether you just pay part and they forgive the rest, or pay in monthly installments, or forgive the penalties, or just leave you alone till you're back on your feet. In almost all cases, we do everything for you. You don't talk to the government, deal with them, have anything to do with them, and then you can have a normal life, even though you can't pay your taxes.
Look, you can't just bury your head in the sand. Steve Moskowitz and Moskowitz LLP, they'll help you out if you can't pay your taxes. Call them right now at 888-TAX-DEAL. That's 1-888-TAX-DEAL, or online at moskowitzllp.com.
Listen to the sports leader anywhere, anytime. Download the all-new KNBR app. We are your proud home of Giants baseball. KNBR 104.5 FM and 680 AM.
You know, you take a look at what they did with him when they brought him up. I mean, he's playing third base, and they moved him to shortstop, then they moved him to second base. He's skilled at those positions. I think of all the positions, the one he's least comfortable with is at second base. But if you watch him take ground balls, I mean, he has the pivot. I mean, he has the balance of the pivot. He has the creativity of his feet to be able to react to wherever that throw comes to him from a third baseman or a shortstop on a pivot play. So I don't think they'll hesitate putting him anywhere in those three positions. So that just simply means that Crawford's at a point in his career where he's not going to play every day. You know, he may play 4, maybe 5, maybe 3 days a week. We don't know. They have to keep his legs healthy. And, you know, I mean, we watch Buster, you know, the way that they used him, the way that they managed him.
Yeah.
And in a way, they're going to be doing the same thing with Crawford. And there's going to be days off that J.D. Davis needs, and there's going to be days off that Tyro needs. And on those days off, Casey Schmidt's going to play.
Ask Mike Krukow this morning on Murph and Mac, which you should be listening to every morning from 6 to 10. Casey Schmidt's first 3 games as a Giant, 8 for 12, 2 home runs, couple of doubles, 4 RBIs, 5 runs, creating a ton of buzz, playing great defense as well. And he's going to join us today at 1 o'clock. And we're going to talk to Bags about the Giants and a lot of Casey Schmidt at the bottom of the hour in about 10 minutes. But look, you can't just do this. We've been talking so long about, when's Farhan going to get a position player up here? And, once you get one, it's like you want more and more, and you get this buzz. But it's, he's off to this great start. And we've been laughing and talking because he's going to make me rich someday and all those things, which is very nice as kind of aside from this whole thing. But he's creating a ton of buzz, and, man, is he living up to it.
I mean, I ordinarily, on a day like today, the Warriors could be walking the plank tonight. And this could be the biggest game in Steph Curry's career. You got to win tonight, and you got to win on Sunday. So ordinarily, we do 4 solid hours on Steph Curry and the Warriors because that's how big it is. But Casey is going to come on at 1 o'clock. He's had 3 tremendous games, both offensively and defensively. He's done things that no shortstop has ever done. And obviously 8 for 12 as a hitter with a couple of homers, a couple of doubles. And he's all that. But, I mean, and we got into a little bit, his skill set. He is a third baseman by trade, like Mike was saying. But Manny Machado's a third baseman who could play short. Matt Chapman is a third baseman that can play short. We've seen it for, Nolan Arenado is a third baseman that can play short. It's just with the shifting, they would, stack up everybody on the right side and leave those great third basemen by themselves on the entire left side. They could play short and third simultaneously. Casey Schmidt's that kind of player. He is that kind of player. If he stays healthy, John, he's going to win more Gold Gloves than Brandon Crawford. He's going to be a Platinum Gold Glove winner. He's just defensively, the game is easy for him. And you know how you can tell it's easy for him? And this is the Steph Curry comparison. He plays with joy. He smiles when he plays. He does not tense up at all. And you don't see him tense up in the box either. And I think they're going to adjust to how they pitch him. Obviously, he could cover the inner third of the plate, so they're going to work him away and make him chase, just not be in the strike zone. But defensively, it looks like, I got this. This is no big deal. This is like Steph Curry shooting a wide-open baseline 3. He ain't going to miss it. He ain't going to kick it. He's just got supreme confidence in what he does defensively. And we'll ask Casey about the greatest moment of last night's game was after he flipped that double play ball and he couldn't decide whether to backhand it or forehand it, and he flipped it to Estrada. They got the double play. He ran right in off the field, sat right down next to Craw, looked like Yoda there. Young man, sit down next to me. And could you imagine that?
Steal my job, you will.
Steve didn't have that with Joe Montana. Trust me, that wasn't happening. They were competing. So Craw, it speaks to who Craw is, and it speaks to who Casey is. But the one thing I want to ask Baggarly when he joins us, because Bags has been writing about him, from the spring, is he wrote a story back in spring training in the Athletic Channel where he detailed the goofy side of Casey Schmidt, how he was kind of the clubhouse prankster. And I just want to hear more about that because when you watch him play, he's got that glimmer in his eye. He's got like a half smile on all the time. He plays like Willie Mays played center field, like he has extreme uber confidence, and he should. Mays was the best center fielder to ever walk the earth. And Casey Schmidt, I mean, there have been a lot of great shortstops, obviously, from Ozzie to Omar, and on it goes, and Craw, and, the guys today. But he just looks different defensively. For a guy to come up and make his major league debut, and he had his family there, and, after he hit the home run and they put it on the scoreboard, he's clapping at himself. And
that was funny.
He's playing with Steph Curry joy, isn't he? He's just so, I got this.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Look, I think it's great. I think the buzz it's creating is great. I think part of the problem is, and you and I talk about attendance at Giants games all the time, and people can say it's, there's not as many people in the city and safety or parking or whatever the issues cost. There's all those things are legitimate. There's no doubt about it. But to me, if you have guys like what he's been, and it's only a couple of games, I'm not overreacting, but these type of players, the fans want to relate to players. And you and I were at FanFest, and it's nothing against any of the guys that are there. I mean, we talked to Jock Peterson, who was great. We talked to Logan, who was great. We talked to Tyro. I mean, there's a lot of great guys on this team, but that's why they went out and they tried to get Aaron Judge and they tried to get Carlos Correa, who, by the way, is off to a horrible start with the Twins, because you got to have some star power on your team. And it's early, but Casey Schmidt looks like that kind of guy. Casey Schmidt's a guy where I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to buy a ticket to see Casey Schmidt play. And right now, they don't have enough of those guys. That Tim Lincecum factor, and I'm certainly not saying he's that, but I'm saying a guy that you say, I'm going to watch him play because, as you pointed out, it's not just the at-bats where you want to see him play and stay in your seat. If he's at shortstop or third, wherever he's going to be, he's going to make a play. That's why you go to a baseball game.
He's going to make every play. Defensively, he is a Gold Glove, Platinum Glove winner right now. I mean, there's no doubt. And whether he can play third or short or second, what's his best position? All of them. I want him to close games, come out of the bullpen and show off that heat. But it also what makes a guy popular. And, Buster Posey was a great, great player. But were his at-bats must-see like Bonds? No. It's different with this guy because of the lightness. And I want to hear from Bags because he knows him well, and obviously his family. I mean, all the people that were there to watch him play in his debut, whether it was 40 or 60 that came up from San Diego, and there were a bunch of them there last night. And we'll ask Casey at 1 o'clock about it. He's obviously a likable guy. His teammates like him. That's a big part of it. He's not, the young phenom that comes in with a haughty attitude that takes over the clubhouse that people don't like. Kirk Gibson, you don't want that guy. He can be a great player, but it's going to make your clubhouse better and your team better. This guy can do both. So right now he's an overnight sensation the last 3 nights. But with Bags, because he was writing about his prankster and his quirky personality, and also he's got the face guard in front of his face to protect him because he got drilled by a pitch. He's going to have to wear that his entire career because you'd like to see more of that Magic Johnson smile, that Steph Curry easiness, the charisma of Willie Mays. I'm not saying he's those guys. He's got skill, though. There's no doubt. He's a big-time talent. And he just, he plays the game with a Willie Mays and a Steph Curry kind of joy. And that's hard to do if it's kind of your personality. You can't force someone to do that. Some guys got to play like Draymond Green, like they're mad at the world and they're going to fight everybody. That's what makes Draymond. Casey Schmidt, John, it's a different sport, but man, he just plays the game of joy.
Are you keeping on this the outfit that you have on right now?
You're going to have to follow along, John.
Are you keeping this one on for
I changed
Bags?
hats.
That's beautiful.
So I wanted orange in the shirt to match the hat.
I like this. That for every segment we talk about something, you change over. So you were in Warriors last segment.
Again, I can write each of these items off on my taxes.
And now you have the Giants hat with the Papa, the Man, the Myth, the Legend. Is that the shirt?
I changed hats because it's got more orange in it. Yeah. The other one would clash.
I like the shirt.
I just grabbed the first orange T-shirt I could find. It was Ernest Hemingway.
I like it. All right, Bags is going to give us some insight into Casey Schmidt. He's off to an amazing start, 8 for 12, a couple of impressive home runs, and then with the glove as well. Casey Schmidt, is he the real deal? We ask Bags next, only here on the Sports Leader.
Bases are bigger, but our bags stays the same. Andrew Baggarly covers the Giants for The Athletic, and he's on with Papa and Lund. Now on KNBR 104.5 FM and 680 AM, the sports leader.
2-0 pitch. Schmidt hits a high drive down the left field line. This one is gone into the second deck. He just unloaded on that pitch. A towering home run, the second homer of his brand new big league career. And that one was demolished.
That is a great word for it, demolished. Dave on the call, Dave Fleming on the call as the Giants get the win behind the Casey Schmidt. And by the way, Alex Cobb was very good as well. 8 for 12, 2 home runs, a couple of doubles, 4 RBIs, 5 runs, and great defense as well. Casey Schmidt, it is early, but we're getting pretty excited about it. Let's talk to Andrew Baggarly about it because he's written about him. He's talked to him a lot more than we have. So he joins us courtesy of the Yuma Guest Line as he does every single Friday. Hey, Bags, what's happening?
About that sprint speed on the bases, too. We saw it in spring training. I think he hit a triple at Scottsdale Stadium, and he got from home to third, and I thought, wow, he might be one of the fastest guys in the organization. I didn't even realize he had that sort of tool in his bag, too. So, I don't think he's a Hall of Famer after 3 games, but he's certainly given the team a spark, and that's what they were hoping for, and they're hoping that they'll get more of that, whether it's Kyle Harrison or Patrick Bailey or other folks they might have come up from the minors this year. That's what you hope for when you call somebody up, and he's absolutely done that beyond anyone's expectations. So good for him.
Yeah, obviously defensively, whether it's third or short and maybe some second, he's got gold glove ability, platinum gold glove ability. He's special. But offensively, the walk to strikeout ratio wasn't there even in college at San Diego State. It was better right before they called him up. He did a home run recently. And so my question is, and it seems like almost every hit he's got, and he's got 8 of them in 3 games, in 12 at-bats, a couple of bombs, the 443-footer last night, a couple of doubles. They've been pitching him in over and over again, middle in. I think he's proven he can handle the inside pitch. Can he stay in the strike zone? So we'll get to his defense in a minute, but offensively in the bat is playing big league ready right now, Bags. We weren't certain of that. What are you seeing from him?
Yeah, I agree. He looks like he's ready to hit the pitch in, and that's, I think the report on him was that he likes to drive the ball, extend his arms, and drive the ball to right center. And so I think that's what pitchers are trying to test early on is, can he handle that pitch in? And probably the next thing they'll have to test is, when he's looking in, can they get him out away by maybe even going out of the strike zone away and see if he has the zone awareness to lay off those pitches. So, it's a constant adjustments, even for guys who've been in the league for a decade, you're always adjusting. And so, they're learning things about him and they'll try something different the next time. But, I think that the biggest thing right now is just the energy, the spark and the energy. It's something we hadn't seen a lot of on this team. It's an older team. It's a more static station-to-station team. And, a team that at least in the early going, if they weren't hitting homers, they were striking out so much, it was hard to sustain a rally or score multiple runs in an inning if they didn't pop a homer with somebody on base. And so just to have that sort of breath of fresh air and somebody who can beat out an infield hit too and be dynamic in a lot of different ways, I think that's why it seems like such a breath of fresh air.
It's a great point. Andrew Baggarly is joining us talking Casey Schmidt, who's 8 for 12 with a couple of home runs so far. Of course, hit one in his second at bat at Oracle, and then he hit one yesterday in Arizona, and he is going to join us at 1 o'clock. So in advance of us having a discussion about him, just tell us about the guy, because like you said, he's a breath of fresh air, and he's obviously producing, and that's the main part. But he seems like he kind of has the it, and he's just enjoying the heck out of it.
Yeah, when I wrote something about him in the spring, I had a couple interviews with him, and he was, pretty one game at a time, in his quotes, and he's a rookie. He's there to be seen and not heard. But, when you talk to people who played with him in the minors, that's when you really get a sense for his personality. Just a fun-loving guy. They have a day off in A-ball, and so he'll go to Target and go to the toy aisle and buy every Nerf product and stuff, and, just different pranks he would pull on teammates. And, one thing that I thought was kind of funny is he kept telling people he looks just like Bradley Cooper, which he does not look like Bradley Cooper. But he took a pitch to the face, broke his nose. Most people would be like in shock. He's sitting in the back of an ambulance holding a bloody towel to his face, not knowing how bad it is, but knowing his nose is broken. And the first thing he thinks to do is take a picture of himself and send it to his teammates, and say, well, I guess I'm not Bradley Cooper anymore. So, that's sort of, a lot of people would react a different way. They'd just be freaked out. And he's like, well, I look like a mess. I'm going to have to send a picture of myself to my teammates so they'll know I'm okay. I think that's kind of the spirit. It's sort of, Sean Jelly described it as that young baseball player energy where you're just there having fun and bringing a lightness to the room. So I think that sort of lightness, that gregariousness, that's definitely part of the package with him.
I think he looks a little like Bradley Cooper, the younger Bradley Cooper. A little bit.
All
I
right.
just showed the audience. We're on YouTube and Twitch now, so I just showed it to John. The picture I just showed doesn't look much like him. He looks a little haggard in this picture, but I see a little bit of him. You know what I see, though, and I did want you to talk more about his goofy side, the prankster side. What I see, and we were talking about, obviously, the Warriors have a pretty big game tonight, Bags, is he plays kind of with the Steph Curry joy, the Willie Mays charisma. Even in the box, he doesn't appear to be pressing in his first 3 Major League games. But at shortstop, he has an aura about him that I got this. Hit the ball to me and you're out, no matter where I play. I mean, he just has a gleam in his eye, a lightness about him, Bags. A lot of players have to grip. They all can't play that way. Will Clark didn't play that way. He had the Nuschler going. This guy plays with joy. He plays kind of like Mays, where it's just an ease about himself.
Wow, what a compliment! I mean, it's you're right.
Do you see that, or am I getting caught up in the hyperbole of his first 3 games?
Well, I think it's a little easy for him to have that confidence when he's got the physical skills that he's got. I mean, you watch him at third base in the spring, and I thought he was going to be one of those super smooth, sort of silky fielders. He's not. He is more like an Arenado where, he's taken extra steps. He's really active with his feet, and he's got such arm strength. He was a closer at San Diego State, and obviously that's a pretty good attribute when you're a college closer. We had a catcher behind the plate for the Giants for a while, who was also a college closer who used his arm to great effect, Buster Posey, of course. But that arm strength, I think he got off a throw that was like the second hardest throw an infielder has thrown in the big leagues yesterday. Like
92.7 miles an hour, yeah.
Yeah, so, for him to have that arm, and, like Tyro Estrada, I think, is a really good athlete. He's someone who doesn't have a lot of lateral range, and he also does not have a lot of arm strength. He grades out in the lowest, I think, maybe 15 percentile in terms of infield arm strength. So, when you compare Casey Schmidt's arm to a Tyro's, it really does open eyes. It's like, wow, he does fire it across the diamond. And I think he knows, hey, I've got a little extra time because I've got this arm strength. I know I can play a little deeper, or I can afford to take that extra step or take this chance here because you can make up for it with the arm strength. And he really does have good footwork at third, and I think that's why he's translated so well to playing the other middle infield spots, which without looking like someone who's just recently converting to playing those positions. So no question, I think when you can bring that kind of defensive value every day, that shows up, even if you go 0 for 4. You're somebody who can, if you get on base, even if you just, hitting a 6-4 fielder's choice, you're on base, you can be a threat to run. So those kinds of gifts show up every day when you're a good defender, when you're a good base runner. And I think it's going to make the Giants a better team.
Andrew Baggarly joining us, Game 2 between the Diamondbacks and the Giants. We'll have it right here tonight on the Sports Leader. And, of course, we've got Casey Schmidt coming on at 1 o'clock. So, look, he's not going to keep hitting 668 and hit a home run every single night because that would be a record. But let's say he's solid and he's here to stay. What would the infield look like?
Well, I think that's part of the reason that they tried him out at second base, because they want to try to keep him in the lineup and get him opportunities everywhere. I think it's going to mean that they don't have to push, J.D. Davis as hard. I think he's the everyday third baseman on this team, but he's going to need days off, especially against maybe some tougher right-handers. And he is a guy who can hit right-handed pitching, so you don't need to sort of, put him in any kind of platoon or anything like that. I do think that one thing they can really afford to do, maybe for the first time in Brandon Crawford's career, we're going back a decade now, is pace him a little bit, which they're probably going to have to do once he comes off the injured list. And maybe it means that he's on a little bit more of the Buster Posey program from 2021, where he's 2 on, 1 off, or what have you, and then he maybe doesn't play against lefties. That may be part of the natural progression, and that may be partly a response to the way he's played this season, and partly a response to getting more out of him, knowing that hey, when he is rested, he's still a pretty good player. So I assume we're going to see some of that. What they do with David VR, I think, is going to be interesting. Is he going to be the guy who goes down when they activate Crawford? That's a possibility, certainly. But they've been very, very. They haven't backed down from saying how much they believe in David VR, and they do think he's going to have a role on this team. Even though right now it looks kind of like a right-handed DH. So, same thing at first base. You got Wade there. You got Flores, who can play against lefties at first base, and I assume that'll be the plan going forward. But yeah, if Schmidt is their best option, they'll find a way to put him out there, whether it's at third on occasion, at shortstop on occasion, and at second.
Well, he's got to play, which is, you could just rotate those guys, whether it's for JD or Craw or Tyro. And for David VR, Cap's saying basically that Craw's going to be activated any day now, the next 48 hours, Bag. So maybe because David VR needs to play. He sit the bench, not going to do him any good in DHing. So I think he'll see that move. So let's back up a couple of days. Obviously, what he did last night was historic. But what he did on his first game was just fun on Tuesday night. And you detailed it as well, and as only you can, in the room that you have in the Athletic and the access you have to people. And we watched it on TV with his dad and the child in his arms and the family members, and whether it was 40 or 60 people there. It also speaks to what you were talking about, his likability factor in the clubhouse as being the kind of the prankster goofball guy. I mean, to have so many people, his grandmother, finally traveled for the first time since COVID, Bags. I think all of that, and you chronicled it so well, speaks to who this guy is.
Well, I appreciate that. One nice thing with the Athletic is I don't have a newspaper deadline, so I can send my story at 1 a.m. instead of at 10:30, and so I can spend a little more time downstairs talking to some of his family members as they're on the field, and sort of taking a billion photos, and he's showing off the souvenirs he got in his first hit, and giving Grandma a hug and everything, and giving the whole story about how everybody got there. And they flew from all over. This is people who aren't even part of his immediate family, but just friends, the people that he's made lifelong connections with, a lot of it through baseball. He's from Chula Vista. He's from that area of San Diego. I have a really good friend of mine who lives in Chula Vista and went to her mom's memorial service last year, and the whole neighborhood showed up. So I don't know. I think there's just a sense of community in that place that sounds like it's really, really strong, and everybody knows everybody. His mom and dad were telling me in spring training that when he'd come home, they lived on a little cul-de-sac, and he would organize another baseball game for everybody in the neighborhood. And if they didn't know how to play baseball, he taught them so that he different people just to play another game because he just loved playing so much. So, clearly he's had that sort of Pied Piper, I think, effect on people, and that's why people, dropped everything to fly in from North Carolina and Chicago and all over the country, really, to be there. And it was a neat scene when they're all on the field cheering for him. Hey, whatever you ate today, eat it tomorrow. So that was a lot of fun.
That's great. Bags, at the risk of being booed off the stage, I'm going to change the Giants topic to pitching. Alex Cobb down to 171. Exactly. And for
although
me
he has the lowest ERA in the league, so Cobb's fine.
I mean, Alex Cobb at 171. DeSclafani's at 280. Had the rough outing last time, but had pitched so well. Logan Webb has probably pitched better than his numbers. He did a 346. But then you go to Ross Stripling, who's got the number of the beast, the 666, and you got Sean Manaea at almost an 8. So what are we seeing here? Obviously, you got 3 good ones and 2 where you're going, ugh, and you got an opener, of course, which we all love going tonight.
Yeah, and if you just break it down too, and Taylor Rogers has turned a corner. He's had a nice little run of scoreless innings, but he hasn't quite slid back into that sort of closer adjacent setup type role. And then, obviously Mitch Haniger was out early, and they haven't gotten a whole lot from the 5 major free agents that they signed in total. The thing about Manaea and Stripling is it's still up to them whether they come back for $12.5 million next year. So, they're going to have more opportunities. That's for certain. And they're going to use the opener today with John Brebbia. I think they're going to find ways that they can maybe get these guys in a better position to where they can have some success. We know they will have some options coming up soon, whether it's Kyle Harrison, Keaton Wynn. We've got Alex Wood coming off the injured list. So, I still think the Giants feel pretty good about that they'll have options. They don't have to keep throwing, Manaea out there. If he's really, really struggling, they can find ways to, maybe get him in less leveraged, maybe multiple inning roles in some games, whether they're down games or up games, to just try to get him right. And it's early in the season. And the thing is that they're healthy. All these guys are healthy. You don't have a Carlos Rodon who hasn't made a start yet for the Yankees because he, can't get off the shelf. So the fact that the velo is still where it's supposed to be, the stuff is still where it's supposed to be. It's just the results haven't been there. For a Manaea, he's throwing a lot harder, but the command is just hasn't been there. So maybe he's got to dial it back and just focus more on location. So I'm sure they were going to work with those guys on that. But the fact they're all healthy and the fact that the metrics look okay, and the fact that they are going to have other options on this pitching staff. It's not like, well, we don't have anybody else. We got a bear covered. That's sort of, I think, those are reasons to be a little bit optimistic that the situation will get better. And like you said, the fact that Webb, Cobb, DeSclafani, that the last one aside, have been so strong, that's sort of they're providing the backbone there. And but clearly they got to pitch better in the bullpen, and they got to get more from that back half of the rotation. No question.
Let Schmidt pitch. Let Schmidt pitch. And I got to say that slowly.
Yeah, be careful.
Let Schmidt pitch.
Are we sure he can't help the bullpen?
Shohei.
Hey, J.D. Davis was a pretty good pitcher at Fullerton.
He's got a hose, too.
Yeah.
The reason he didn't play a lot of third base at Fullerton is because they had that Matt Chapman guy playing over there. So he pitched and played first base at Fullerton.
That guy's having a year, too. My goodness.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Great stuff. Thanks, Bags. We'll talk to you next week. You're the best.
Okay, have a good weekend, guys. Take care.
Too, Bags.
That is the great Andrew Baggarly at Extra Bags. Yeah, that's one thing, especially with you and me, man. I got to say his name slow. You get a little too excited, and then
that could be the new. Remember, let Timmy smoke. Let Schmidt pitch. Say it slow though.
Might need that.
Slow.
Get our own Shohei. Okay, he won't come here, but how about this
Shohei?
guy? Yeah, maybe.
Are you ready, John?
Right, it is time. It is time for the schedule game. We all love it. It is sweeping the country. Hey, it's the schedule game. The 49ers schedule came out yesterday. Win, loss, win, loss, loss, win. Oh, boy. Here we go. We're going to do it coming up next. Yeah, my game show host voice.
Turn into an FM DJ. Yeah, what happened to you?
That's my Wink Martindale voice. Hey, we'll be back in 2 and 2 with more Joker.
It's your Gold Club voice as you're getting ready to pick the winner.
I only have one voice. That's it. Or my one alternative voice, I should say. All right, it is time to play the schedule game, and then we'll go back to the Warriors and the Lakers tonight. And, of course, Casey Schmidt's going to join us at 1 o'clock, so we still got a lot of great stuff. But Matt Maiocco is going to join us at 12:50. He's played this game already. So in advance of Matt Maiocco, we will play the schedule game coming up next. We'll look at the schedule. We'll pick the wins and losses, and we'll do it next only here on the Sports Leader.
At Pittsburgh. Hey, it's Greg Papa here, and we all want to reach our full potential. Getting quality sleep every night is a key to reaching the next level, so we need next level sleep. I get great sleep every night because my Sleep Number smart bed automatically responds to my movements throughout the night to keep me sleeping comfortably. Sleep Number beds allow you to adjust for your ideal firmness, comfort, and support. I have 2 herniated discs, and my Sleep Number is 100, and I sleep great. You can sleep next level and unlock your unique potential with a smart bed that can perform as well as you. And now, save 50% of the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed plus free home delivery when you add a adjustable base. It ends Monday, May 15th, only at Sleep Number stores or at sleepnumber.com.
Listen to the sports leader anywhere, anytime. Download the all-new KNBR app. Now back to Papa and Lund live from the KNBR Casino Matrix Studio. Casino Matrix Progressive Jackpots are here. Where are you? Just drop in. Please play responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Purdy under center, check, fullback ahead of Mason. They snap it, they give it to J.P. Mason. First down, 49ers breaks it. He will run it all the way in. The game is over. 20, 15, 10. He gets knocked out of bounds, which is actually better that he did not score. It is over. The 49ers have won the NFC West.
We have been loving T-Rock and Papa every Sunday, Thursday, Monday, whenever it's on.
I love that dude.
All the way to the UK, John.
I love that dude.
All of a sudden I heard his voice and I got a hangover.
Me too, man.
I feel like Bradley Cooper.
And he's relentless. Like, he would call me every day, like, where you going? I'm like, nowhere near you, man. I got to get away. But, by the way, your best...
He's a good bloat.
Your best change yet. I like it. You're into if you're on the YouTube channel.
See what I got going here?
Twitch.
Conquered the West.
Yeah, I like it.
NFC West champions with that run. And luckily, J.P. Mason did not score. Go down, young man. First down, not touchdown. You win the West. And then they obviously were the number 2 seed. So 49ers last year, 13-4. The schedule came out yesterday. I like it.
I do too.
I like the fact they're on prime time 5 times, all the holidays. I'm not going to be able to spend much time with you on Christmas. You're going to be working all day.
I know.
I'll spend more time with Lamar Jackson. Thanksgiving, we're going to be in Seattle. Can they win the West again? Up in Seattle on Thanksgiving, John, and then New Year's Eve in Washington. Obviously going to Philadelphia on December the 3rd is going to be a big game. We've got circled. I want to see what color you're going, red or gold on that one. And the Cowboys, we've knocked them out of the playoffs the last couple of years, obviously in January. Maybe we'll see them for a second time. But it's like the old days when they were great in the 90s. Whoever won the championship game would go to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. And a lot of it was based on who won the regular season matchup. So it's great to have them on October the 8th at Levi's. So I like the schedule.
Yeah, I do too. I think they need to get after it early. In fact, I'm going to send you a picture. By the way, I do have gold for wins and red for losses. Also in the 49ers schedule game. What we're going to do here is, and you're going to enjoy this. In fact, you know what?
Well, are you going to be the host? And you're the one picking the games.
Why don't you
You're
be
the contestant. I'm the one doing the voiceover stuff.
This will be good.
I'm John Pardo.
Okay, I will
in
tell
a 49er. Pick 'em. What are we calling this, John?
Who knows?
I need some more.
49ers pick 'em game. The 49ers schedule game. The pick 'em game.
The schedule game.
Pick 'em.
17-0 game.
Yeah, we'll pick 'em.
Whatever it is, it's going to take. We got to pick 17 games now.
All right, so Matt Maiocco is going to join us at 12:15. He has done this. Most people do this. Right. So the schedule comes out, and essentially what happens is you go win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. So we'll do this.
Yeah, but now we know where it is.
Yeah.
Bye weeks,
different.
The Thursday games.
Starts.
We knew who they were going to play and where. We didn't know when.
Order matters.
Now we know when.
Right?
Now it matters.
Yeah, order matters. Right. There's no doubt. And you're playing a Thursday night, then you got 10 days to rest, et cetera, et cetera. When they have a bye week, et cetera. So we're going to do all that kind of stuff, and we'll call it the pick'em game.
The red and the gold game.
Yeah, okay,
the
red and the gold game.
Gold is for a win.
Yes, that's what I got.
Like
I got
gold helmets.
I marked it up.
It's more yellow than gold, but play along with me.
I'll send this out.
Is clearly red.
Yeah, I'll send this out after we get done here. I don't want to give it away, but I'll send this out on social media. And by the way, go to KNBR.com, go to the KNBR app, and you can see us on YouTube and Twitch. Make sure that you head out there, and we appreciate the comments, any comments, thoughts, etc., just like the text line. Text line is wide open, comments, thoughts, questions, etc. By the way, before we go, and then we got to get going because Matt Maiocco is going to join us at 12:15 and play the game too.
We got to go fast.
I think you're going to enjoy the reaction. So whether we pick a W or an L, we have a person that both of us know very, very well who is going to be our reactor. And since he never picks up the phone in the offseason and goes completely dark, we have no choice but to get his reactions.
T-Rock? Is it T-Rock?
We're going to get his reactions to every win and loss. So, okay,
all right.
I'm ready.
Good call, bro.
All right, let's go.
All right. Here we go.
Let's go.
You ready, John, for the 49ers pick'em game?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Week 1 at Pittsburgh, September the 10th. The 5-time Super Bowl champion 49ers up against the 6-time Super Bowl champion Steelers. John, gold or red?
Now, I realize that we don't know who may be playing quarterback at that point, but I don't care who it is. It could be Darnold. It could be Trey Lance. It could be Brock Purdy. But Kenny
Gold
Pickett.
Club?
That's right. And I know it's a 10 a.m. start, but Kenny Pickett is not beating the 49ers.
Pickett with a pick six. It's a pick at
right.
6.
That's exactly right. A W in Pittsburgh, 1-0. Ain't no Kenny Pickett beating the 49ers. 1-0.
1-0.
That's right.
Going to L.A. at SoFi. Yeah, feels great, baby. All right.
Oh, yeah,
the 49ers have not lost a regular season game to the Rams since Roman Gabriel was the quarterback, John.
Yeah.
Week 2 at SoFi. Who do you got? 49ers, Rams.
I did think deeply about this, and I wanted to give it. I almost gave this a red L, but then I thought to myself, like you said,
what?
They dominate the Rams. Jalen Ramsey's gone. Bobby Wagner's gone. Matt Stafford's arm's going to fall off. Cooper Kupp's coming back from injury. I don't care who it is at quarterback. The Rams, okay, they won that one thing called the NFC Championship game against the 49ers, but in the regular season, dominance, I tell you, dominance. Their fans are like, whatever. That guy going, Rams house. Give me a break on that guy. 2-0. 2-0. They beat the Rams.
2-0, bros.
2-0, bro. We're going to huff, and we're going to puff, and we're going to blow your Rams house down.
Right. That's right.
Talanoa Hufanga.
That's right. 2-0.
How about the home opener on a Thursday night?
Love this.
And the 21st night of September. I remember. Do you remember, John Lund? The 49ers, and this is a great rivalry of the 80s, Walsh against Parcells, a little bit more updated now. The home opener against Big Blue, a playoff team a year ago. Week 3 against the Giants, John, what do you got? Gold or red?
Well, Chuck Woolery 2-2. It's a Thursday nighter, and Al. By the way, is Herb Street doing those games? I thought he was going to be a one and done.
I think he's back, and Al Michaels will be back as well. I think so.
And Al will like this. This is a West Coast game.
Maybe John Lynch will be the GM for the game and be the lead analyst on the game.
Excuse me, Kirk. Ohio State's
you think
playing.
they'd rather have him?
Oh my gosh, you're kidding. Thursday night game, one of their national games. The Giants. I got to tell. Look, they made the playoffs. I have a lot of respect for Brian Daboll, what they did, and so on and so forth.
You are getting to a butt, John.
I'm not a Daniel Jones guy. I look at quarterbacks maybe too much. Daniel Jones ain't coming into Levi's Stadium and beating the 49ers 3-0, bro. 3-0.
You riding the wave? Are you riding the wave?
Riding.
I'm not getting off.
T-Rock. We're loving T-Rock.
I love this.
All right, week 4. We got to move this along. Our Maiocco's going to be on at 12:30 instead of 12:15. All right, Arizona.
I gotta
first
stop.
day of October. Who's going to quarterback the Arizona Cardinals with Kyler Murray out to injury, John?
I know next year it's going to be Caleb Williams, and he's going to be long gone. They're
going to have the number 1 pick in the draft. That's what they're going to do.
Stink. They traded back in the draft. I don't mind, but they got an offensive lineman in the first round. Come on. The Cardinals usually give the 49ers trouble, not this year. That's 4-0, bro. That's 4-0.
Oh, no, Tacion!
Oh, these drops are amazing.
All right, now we're rolling into a big one.
Come on. What do you think? 4-0? Am I being too
4-0, bro. I feel
I'm
your
too
love.
optimistic? All right.
Much better than being 3-4, I'll tell you that.
Yep.
Or 3-5. 8-0, they were the Super Bowl year of 2019, so we're halfway there. I love your 4-0, bro. 4-0. All right, Sunday night football. Could be the highest rated game of the entire year at Levi's, NBC, Dallas Cowboys in a rematch of the last 2 playoff games where the 49ers knocked them out, John. Do they go to 5-0, bro?
So like you said, Sunday nighter, one of the national games that they're on here. They've beaten them. They've knocked them out of the playoffs the last 2 years. They got a really good defense. We saw that. Brock Purdy. They got to lose sometime. They got to lose sometime. I don't know.
Not to them.
I just
Not
think
to them.
We'll play them again in the playoffs, and we'll beat the Cowboys, but I'm going to say...
Are you going red?
I'm going to put a red L there. I don't know. I just got so optimistic, and I'm going, and I'm thinking they got to lose a game at some point, right?
T-Rock is not going to be happy.
Feels bad, baby.
Feels awful, baby. Feels disgusting.
All right, so what does that leave us?
4-1.
4-1. That's still amazing.
Move it on. All right.
You don't like that? You don't like that pick,
We're on to Cleveland. We're on to Cleveland.
All right.
Going to Cleveland, Northeast Ohio. What do you think at the Brownies on October the 15th?
Deshaun Watson gets the this is his full season for Deshaun Watson, but I don't see it. I know it's a 10 a.m. start. I get it. Those are tough, but they're going to bounce back from the Dallas loss, and they're going to get that victory, and they're going to improve to 5-1 over the dog pound.
He's a gangster.
5-1 and still having fun.
Yeah, 5-1.
Love it. All right, we're 5-1.
We're in good shape. We're in good shape.
All right, the next one, and I don't think they're going to stay on the East Coast because the Minnesota game is a Monday night game. But a 5-1 record going to Minnesota playoff team last year. We thought we were going to see them in the playoffs last year, but the Giants pulled off the upset, and we wound up getting a different seed there playing Dallas. So how do you see the 49ers at Minnesota, October the 23rd, John? Red or gold?
Monday nighter, of course, another national game. Kirk Cousins, who would have been a 49er if circumstances were different at some point, but what Kirk Cousins doesn't do is he doesn't win national games. He doesn't win on Monday Night Football.
That's right.
The Vikings had all those one-score wins. That doesn't carry from year to year, so the 49ers beat the Vikings on Monday Night Football.
What do you say there, rubber duck?
Rubber ducky, you're the one. And the 49ers are 6-1.
6-1.
Here's a tough one.
Yeah.
On a short week, got to come back, and this one's going to be at Levi's. This team has been to the Super Bowl and the AFC Championship game the last couple of years. Joey Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals, October the 29th, John. What do you see this one?
All right, the Bengals get their revenge for those 2 Super Bowl losses. That's the best wide receiver core in the league, and you just mentioned Joe Burrow. So, again, it's just they're going to lose some. The Bengals are really, really good.
Game?
So I'm going, I got them losing to Dallas and the Bengals at home. I know, that was probably stupid, but that's what I got. That's what I felt.
All right, 6-2 going into the bye week.
Not bad.
Coming out of the bye week.
Which, by the way, that's a great time for a bye, right? That's a great time for a bye.
We had it last year at that time.
Great time.
Coming out of the bye, we're going not to London, but we're going to North Florida to play the Jags, who were a playoff team last year. Duval!
Yeah, come on.
6-2 49ers at Jacksonville. Trent Baalke. It's the Baalke Bowl.
Yep.
What do you like in this
Not
one?
losing to Trent Baalke.
Check that box, John. Check that box.
They're beating the Jaguars. That's a gold W right there. They're coming out the bye week, not losing. I know it's a 10 a.m. start, but that's a gold W beating Trent Baalke.
Can't agree more.
Thanks. And see, we changed it up. That was old Nick Bosa there. Nick Bosa there. Yeah.
How many sacks in Saxonville for Bosa? Trevor.
He's going to get him.
Of Steffi Graf. 7-2.
Yeah, 7-2.
And the 49ers come back home on November the 19th to take on Tampa Bay in a 105 kick, John.
Yeah, this is
who's quarterbacking the Buccaneers now?
Kyle
Trask.
Oh, that's Baker. That's right, Baker Mayfield.
It's going to be insane.
Oh my gosh, he's going to plant. He's going to plant a lot of flags. This isn't last year where Brock came in and beat Tom Brady, and we all, after the game. The Bucs are going to be one of the worst teams in the league, along with Arizona. Please, Baker Mayfield, nah,
gold,
not happening. That's a gold W, baby. That's a gold W. Where are we
T-Rock
at?
9-2.
But I'll be at the Maiocco Hotel on 7th at Pine at 8 a.m. Saturday morning. Why don't you bring those Twitter muscles by and you can punch me in the mouth?
You should be happier. We just beat Tampa Bay.
I just love this.
8-2. And here
bro.
we come, John. It is Thanksgiving night. Up to Seattle and Lumen Field. NBC with Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth on the call. This one could decide. They won it last year, the NFC West. This one could decide the winner of this year's NFC West. First time playing Seattle. We'll see him again in a few weeks, but the first matchup up in the Pacific Northwest, you go in red or gold?
Well, it's obviously they need to pay him back for the Richard Sherman, Russell Wilson eating the big turkey legs on the field at Levi's Stadium at the 50, but they're 2-9 in their last 11 in Seattle. I have this as an L in Seattle. I have it as an L. Sorry,
you
bro.
said that last year, and they won there.
They did. They beat them 3 times last year. So maybe they're just going to start dominating the Seahawks. You're right. They did win their second. So I do have an L on Thanksgiving. Sorry.
If it ain't tight, it ain't right.
It ain't right,
bro.
It's very loose.
All right, that's 3 losses. I have them now. 8-3.
Yeah, 8-3.
Okay, all right.
All right, so here's the one good thing about playing the Thanksgiving game.
Yes.
A lot of good things about it. You have a week and a half to get ready for the rematch in South Philly in the Link. Javon Hargrave is now a 49er, not an Eagle. A rematch of the NFC Championship game. Hopefully Brock's UCL is tight and right. How do you see this game, John? December 3 in Philly.
You nailed it right on the head. You got 10 days to get ready for these guys, and this is a December game, and Kyle dominates in December. The boys have been talking a lot of trash about the Eagles. It's time to back it up. Oh, yeah. Gold W in Philly. They pay him back for the NFC Championship game. Gold
I cannot wait to party with Lombardi, man.
That'll be the George Halas first.
There you go.
If we win the NFC.
So how about that?
9-3, John. All right, now
9-3.
we get Seattle
December.
again. Second time in 3 weeks we get the Seahawks.
Yeah.
This
That's
time
weird.
at Levi's. They're not sweeping the season series.
No
long.
chance. They're going to blow out the Seahawks. They're going to get revenge for that Thanksgiving. They absolutely beat Seattle December 10th at Levi's.
It ain't no bluff. It's a huff and it's a puff.
Talanoa Hufanga picks it up.
Yeah,
running
pick
back
six.
for a
There you go.
touchdown.
That's what Tim was saying.
Touchdown! Maiocco's got
Well,
waiting.
you
We gotta
are
go.
you are riding. You are man. You're riding
I'm
rhythm
feeling,
already.
I'm feeling it.
Mid-season
10-3
form right there.
But we didn't go to Glendale, Arizona last year.
No.
We went to Mexico City. Thought we were
That
going
was
there for
nice.
a game called Super Bowl 57. Got rerouted thanks to Hassan Reddick. 49ers 10-3 going to Glendale to take on Arizona, who should have Kyler Murray back at quarterback now.
Yes.
Inflection up.
Yeah, for one more. He's getting to the end of his run. I did mention Caleb Williams. Yeah, they're beating.
What are they going to do
Cardinals.
with that contract? Where are they going to?
That's a great question. I guess I'd have to look at that one and see how much they're going to have to eat. But everybody eats a bunch of money now. Where's Kyler going next year? Caleb Williams. All right. Yeah, they're beating.
They're going to be that
That's
bad.
easy.
They're the number one pick in the draft.
That's easy.
Yeah,
Easy one.
baby!
That's a W. That's a
You
gold
didn't even
W.
pick it. You just.
Oh, that's a gold
You let
W.
T-Rock pick it.
Yeah, that's a gold W. It's
All
easy.
right, 11-3.
Yeah, 11-3.
Now it's Christmas night. Here comes Lamar, the Baltimore Ravens.
Good receivers,
It'll be an
too.
ABC game. It'll be Joe and Troy on the call. So how do you see this one? Christmas night against Baltimore.
Yeah, the fifth and final national game. I guess I'm guilty in this one of looking at the schedule and going, geez, I have a ton of wins for these guys. So I took the Ravens on Christmas night. I took the Ravens.
You got them losing 2 home games?
Actually, I got them losing 3 home games, so that's probably not right.
Oh,
no. Do I have 3? Let's see. No, I have them
You
losing
have
2
two
home
so
games.
far.
Sorry, Bengals and now the Ravens. So, yeah, that's probably not right. But, yeah.
Bro.
Really?
I'm sorry, bro.
You like the AFC North that much?
I'm just looking at my record and I had it going and I was like,
Humbug. Ebenezer Lund.
I just wanted to, yeah, that's
so
true.
That'll drop them to 11-4.
That's pretty good still.
So
We're
these
good.
next 2 wins may determine whether
Yep.
they're back-to-back conquerors of the West. At Washington on New Year's Eve.
I just don't believe in Sam Howell, who would be the starting quarterback for the
How about
Commandos at
Thurston
this
Howell?
point.
Do you like Thurston Howell?
I like Lovey.
Lovey?
But
you wash my teddy bear again?
I know it's another one of those 10 a.m. starts, but come on, man. Sam Howell is not beating the 49ers. So they're 12-4.
All right. 12-4. Last year they finished the year 13-4 in the number 2 seed. Season finale could be Saturday or Sunday, Jan 6 or 7 against the L.A. Rams, John.
They're beating the Rams. They're beating the Rams. By that point, Stafford's arm will have fell off. They'll have a bunch of injuries like they did. I mean, they deconstructed this team last year. No more Jalen Ramsey, all that kind of stuff. They didn't have a lot of picks in the draft because they had already done all the stuff to win the Super Bowl. Give them their credit, but now the credit card bill is due. And even though I don't think the Rams are going to be like a 4 or 5 win team, I could see them being like a 7-10 type of a team. So, they could give you some trouble, but they're not losing to the Rams with potentially the division on the line, right? With the division potentially and maybe home field advantage for the NFC.
Yeah,
That's what I
Philadelphia. I'm looking at their schedule and Seattle as well. So 13-4 last year was good enough to win the NFC West. Yeah, but 13-4, it was not good enough to be the number 1 seed. Philly went 14-3. We'll see. So you do have the 49ers losing at home. Not once, not twice, 3 times.
3?
Dallas.
Oh, I said
Cincinnati
Dallas.
and Baltimore.
Yeah, I did.
Can I give you one
That's probably
mulligan
wrong.
and flip the Baltimore game and they go 14-3 instead of 13-4? Then they are the number 1 seed. You think they're going to lose 3 times at Levi's?
Yeah, probably not. They don't do
Levi's
that
was
anymore.
lit last year.
That's been years. A couple
they
of years
lost
ago
once
they did.
there
but-
last year to Kansas City.
Yeah, but then I got to take a road game, and then I got to lose a road. I think
So stick to
it's
what you did.
14-3. I mean, that's what I mean. Is am I being overly
Well, 13-4,
optimistic?
14-3 is the difference maybe between being the 1 seed and getting a bye.
Yeah, they need
And
to be
all
healthy.
roads to Levi's to
They're so
Vegas.
physical. They get banged up. That's why Kyle said that week 13 he was happy. Well, because they're healthy now. Are they going to be healthy going into that thing? I mean, you get nervous about that. But you're right. They're not going to lose 3 times at home. You got to adjust this thing.
You
up.
say they are.
I know.
3 at home and Thanksgiving
pay
night.
attention.
So you're going to have them losing on Christmas night and Thanksgiving night? You are spoiling my holidays. Thank you, sir.
That just means you drink more hot buttered rum or eggnog and whatever, or you drink your blues away. It's very nice.
Ronnie James Dio. I'll go Dio.
I love it. Good choice, boys. Good choice behind the scenes for the Pick'em game to have the reactions of one Tim Ryan.
I love T-Rock.
Who just, goes underground in the offseason. We never see him. So, all right, 13-4. I said it. I don't believe that they're going to lose 3 home games, but you know what? That's what I did. So give us your thoughts. Text line is wide open, 415-828-5627, 415-828-KNBR. Let's get it to Matt Maiocco. He did this drill as well. What were his results? We'll ask him coming up next. By the way, you did a fine job.
Thank you, Don Pardo.
Yes. Tell him what he's won, Johnny. It is
a lifetime supply of bumblebee tuna and a month's supply of turtle wax.
Oh, yeah, that used to be the stuff. All right, Matt Maiocco joins us to play the same game next. Only here on the Sports Leader.
We have been loving T-Rock and Papa.
Here's what's trending now. On KNBR.com.
It was the Schmidt Show. I have to say that slowly. The Schmidt Show in Arizona as the Giants ride 4 hits and a moonshot from Casey Schmidt. That story and more trending right now on the all-new KNBR app. Hey, business owners, talking to you. Are you feeling stretched thin by the pressure of growing your business? You're keeping up with changing regulations and staying HR compliant. You're hiring and retaining top talent. You're handling payroll. Whew. The list goes on, and it's tough to maintain momentum and still keep your employees engaged. So what do you do? Well, fortunately, there's Insperity. Insperity puts over 35 years of HR service and technology to work to help you develop a people strategy that scales with you and your company. So what if your HR strategy included access to better benefits to help you keep the employees you have and attract new ones? What if it offered training to keep your employees and keep them to increase their skills so they become more productive? Of course. Look, there's always going to be challenges, you know this, in a business, but no matter where they are and where they come from, Insperity is ready to help you move past them by providing the HR solutions you need.
And now, time for the Protect Your Assets with David Hollander Business and Technology Report. Wherever you are around the globe, stream your faithful home of 49ers football 24/7, 365 on KNBR.com. This is the sports leader.
You riding the wave? Are you riding the wave? I'm not getting off.
Yes, we just played the Pick'em game. I have 13-4, and Tim Ryan's reactions, whether they were wins or losses. Great job by the boys behind the scenes. We're a little late. We took that a little long, but we apologize to Matt Maiocco, our good friend, who's going to join us to talk about a lot of things, and we will play the schedule game with him because he played it, and we'll ask him what he thought. But first and foremost, before we get to the schedule game and your thoughts on the schedule, how did the event go the other night? It looked really cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. Raised a lot of money for the Golden Heart Fund. Good cast of panelists up there. No, it was a really good time. So we've done it now, I think, 4 years in a row. And this year was pretty neat. We had Fred Warner won the Dwight Clark Award for being the exemplary teammate that he is for the 49ers. Christian McCaffrey was up there. He joined Jerry Rice and John Taylor. Brian Young presented Fred Warner with the award. Kyle Shanahan was on fire. Very bittersweet for Shanahan because 5 p.m. on Tuesday night, Joe Lacob called him and invited him to sit courtside with him for Game 5. And Shanahan had to say, I have a previous commitment. But he was all in and quite entertaining in front of the crowd on a Wednesday night at the California Theater in San Jose. So, yeah, it was a really good time.
Yeah, he was there for a game in the Sacramento series. He was telling me how intense Joe Lacob is. He sat right next to him, and then he and Kyle went up right after the draft for that Sunday, the Game 7 game, when Steph dropped 50 on him. So he loves basketball, obviously, Kyle. But he also made some news at the Dwight Clark event the other night, Maddie, regarding Brock Purdy. So you were there. You heard exactly what he said. What are your thoughts on Purdy's status now after hearing Kyle?
I don't know that anything has changed. I mean, I don't think that. Yeah, I think people were saying that he said that he expects Purdy in training camp. I don't. I mean, I think he just. I didn't read it as anything that hasn't already been said that the team hopes that he'll be available at some point in training camp, probably late in training camp. But what we do know, and this is what Kyle said, is that he's still going through everything that all the quarterbacks do. The only difference is where the other quarterbacks are throwing a football, he basically has a towel in his hand, and he's kind of like, going through the throwing motion with a towel in his hand. So Kyle seems to think that because of all the studying that Brock Purdy is doing and all the film diagnosis and review, that he thinks that he will be a better player in year 2 with the understanding of the system and defenses and all that. And he just thinks that it certainly doesn't sound like the ability to throw a football is much of a concern. So I think the major next step will be June 10th or right around there. That's the 3-month mark, and that's when Brock Purdy can begin throwing a football, like just kind of softly, but begin that next phase. And the 3-month ramp up period is basically at the point where he can be fully cleared. But I think we will see him in training camp doing stuff on the field, but probably not just throwing, not airing it out. So it's my understanding that once training camp begins, he can do some of the underneath passes or some of the less taxing throws on the arm, but those 22-yard, passes outside the numbers where you have to drill it, those might take a little while longer.
He also said some good things about Trey Lance, and this was interesting too. He talked about the finger. It was still bothering him last year, huh?
Yeah, he says that finger was, even though it's considered a minor injury, it was actually had major impacts on him as far as being able to throw the football, the way he gripped it. He said, for the longest time, he couldn't bend that. And it's the index finger. He misspoke, I think, and called it a pinky, but it was the index finger on his right hand. And so he couldn't really grip the football and throw it. So he kind of had to adjust his mechanics a little bit to compensate for that. And that got him in some bad habits. And, talking to Kyle, and I think anybody who watched, training camp last year would probably agree that, Trey Lance did not throw the ball super accurately during training camp. And he believes that now with the finger healed and, it's kind of funny to say, the ankle injury that ended his season, that has healed pretty well. And that's kind of like, speaking to Kyle, he kind of described that as the minor injury and the little tiny hairline fracture of his index finger as the major injury. But he says in watching him throw the ball and the base with which he's throwing and everything about him, he says that he's in a better spot now than he has been since he's been with the 49ers. So, I think Kyle's generally pretty forthright about all that stuff. He certainly made it sound like they really like the three quarterbacks they have. He didn't mention Brandon Allen, who's the fourth quarterback, but when you talk about Purdy and Trey Lance, and he has some things to say about Sam Darnold and Sam Darnold's unique ability to throw the football. He made it sound like those are three guys that they really like, but I think it's also very clear that when Brock Purdy is healthy, it's going to be his job.
And that Trey Lance index finger injury dates back to his rookie year, the last preseason game against the Raiders, when he came down and hit the Raider helmet. He could not grip the ball. I mean, that index finger was literally off the ball. That was the whole point after the rookie year, to send him down to Dado and Tom House at 3D QB to have him learn to re-grip the ball. And I think he still had issues gripping the ball last year, and then he wound up getting hurt. So that's good to hear that he's back to gripping the ball the way he did when he was a college player, because he wasn't gripping it properly, and that's why a lot of the inaccuracy came in. All right, so John just went through the Pick'em 49er schedule game. He got him going 13-4 with 3 home losses. I'm looking at your picks. You go 12-5, Matty. Right away, though, week 2, you having them losing to the Rams 24-21?
Yeah, I do. I mean, there's always something kind of wonky that happens early in the season. And, I don't know that – I know the Rams are – I know their time is over, but they still have some firepower. And at that point, week 2 in the season, I still think the 49ers will be in flux from the standpoint of – who their quarterback is, which quarterback is it going to be, how much practice time will that guy have had leading up to that. And, and it's a big assumption, but, assuming Matthew Stafford is out there throwing the ball around and still has Cooper Kupp and they still have Aaron Donald, they don't have Jalen Ramsey anymore, but I just think that there's always a game or two. This year you can't say this about the 49ers, but I would say generally there's a game or two that you don't expect the team to win, that they win. And there's always a game or two that you don't expect the team to lose, that they end up losing. With the 49ers this season, I mean, you look at every game on the schedule and you go, oh, well, I certainly wouldn't be surprised if they win that game. I mean, I'm not saying they will go 17-0. That's not what I'm saying. So don't have your social media people, post this, that I said this, but you look at it and they can win every one of those games. They will not win every one of those games, but they are a good enough team to beat any game I have them losing, including Philadelphia on the road. I actually have them losing to the Cowboys here, but let's just say Philadelphia on the road. That is the toughest game the 49ers have if you looked at it on paper. But you know what? They could go there. They could win that game. But 12-5 is a really good season. That means they'll win the NFC West. It probably means they won't be the top seed in the playoffs, although they might, because you look at it, I think the NFC East is just as strong or stronger than it was a year ago. So the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Giants, I think they're going to knock each other out. So there will be some losses there in the East, but it just never unfolds the way anybody really expects it to. But I think 12-5 is a pretty good record and a pretty good starting point to what can be expected from the 49ers this season.
Matt Maiocco is joining us, and again, just had a great event the other night. We were talking about the quarterback situation. We're looking at the schedule, which starts September 10th at Pittsburgh. Let's early in the season. I know what Kyle has said. He has said both a view where he thought it was going to take a few games, and then a view that said that they would expect him without any setbacks to start opening that opener at Pittsburgh. Because, like you said, if they still are in flux, and we saw this last year with Jimmy again, especially against Denver. Just because you're in the game does not mean you're going to play at the level that maybe you're going to play out later on in the season. But do you expect, having talked to Kyle as many times as you have, let's assume for just a second that there aren't setbacks. Do you expect Brock Purdy to start in Pittsburgh week 1?
That's such a tough one, because if we follow that 6-month time frame, he would be cleared on opening day. He would be cleared, 6 months from the surgery is September 10th. I don't know. My inclination is that he doesn't start week 1. But, we will have a better idea when training camp gets going. I guess the thing is, it's not like he's doing nothing on September 9th and then September 10th he's cleared and now he's full go.
Yep.
If that's the case, of course he won't play September 10th in Pittsburgh. However, as I mentioned, he will be doing stuff. He will be going through the reads. He'll be making probably a lot of the passes, if not all the passes. But, then the added element of, okay, now is he ready to throw with, 255-pound guys flying off the edge and 320-pounders at defensive tackle trying to push the pocket. So I think I'm probably being a little bit conservative here, but I don't think my inclination is to believe that he won't be starting week 1, but of course, that could be wrong. It's just all a matter of what happens when that ramp-up period begins, and that ramp-up period is scheduled to begin in early June. And so a lot of that time, he'll be behind the scenes working, probably staying in Santa Clara, going through his physical therapy. But I don't think it'll be a surprise as the time draws closer, because we'll be able to see what he's doing on the practice field, and we'll be able to oh my gosh, he hasn't attempted, he hasn't thrown a ball 20 yards down the field all training camp. So can you expect him to play week 1? Probably not. But if you see that he is throwing the ball, and maybe just the pitch count, maybe he's not throwing the ball as many times during training camp, maybe they're just kind of saving him. I'm sure that the idea is, get him ready for week 1. But the bigger idea is just make sure that when he's out there, he's ready to go.
Well, the direct quote Kyle had from the event Wednesday night you were talking about, as long as there's not a setback, we think he'll be there in training camp. So
well, yeah,
if he's there,
but I don't think that's, to me, that's still very inconclusive, because he will be there in training camp, and he will be there.
I think he means there throwing the ball in training camp.
Yeah, but I think he will be. I don't think that's ever been in question that he'll be throwing the ball, because that's going to be part of that 3-month ramp up. And so we will see him throw the ball, no question about it. The question to me is, can he make all the throws? Can he make those throws outside the numbers? At what point is he able to do that? And at what point is he able to step in to an 11-on-11 drill and do everything that's required from the offense? Or, would you expect to see him in a preseason game? I don't think so. But who knows?
Well, the 12-week mark from the surgery, which was March the 10th, is June the 2nd, which is coming up. And they think they'll be able to lob the ball there, and training camp is not till late July. So we'll see. It's a different kind of camp. The 49ers are actually starting at 1 o'clock today their rookie mini camp. Mentions of Jair Brown and John's guy, Jake Money Moody. Who's going to be there?
Well, just so you know how I prioritize you guys, when I saw that KNBR was calling me, I said, hey, Jair, I need to step outside and talk to my guys, Papa and Lund. So
why didn't you hand the phone to Jair and we would have talked to him, Matt? That's how we prioritize you.
I could have done that. Wow. Man, how about that?
After a compliment like that, then he just crushes you. Look at that.
I'm kidding. It was too easy. It was a softball. You teed it up.
So we did. I did have an opportunity for the first time to meet Steve Wilks and talk to him and ask him some questions. New defensive coordinator, so he's got a presence about him, and it's kind of interesting. He really had no prior knowledge or relationship with Kyle Shanahan, but he sees this as a very good position for him to come into. I mean, obviously you would. And he's watched, everything the 49ers have done, basically over the past 6 seasons. And he has his ideas on how he can tweak some things. And, he said that he felt like in talking to many of the guys who've been part of that number one defense in the league, that they all felt like they can do things to get better. And that's where Steve Wilks' priority is right now. And, you don't want to make wholesale changes on what they've been doing, but they can make little tweaks and get better. And one of the areas that he pinpointed was to have his linebackers be more aggressive, maybe, more attacking the line of scrimmage, more blitzing. So that's kind of his initial thought on how he plans to run this 49ers defense as defensive coordinator.
We always like these kind of things, and you're, look, they're just starting out, so maybe there isn't. But you're down there a lot. Is there any buzz? Like a lot of people from a Nationals perspective didn't like this draft, but we know what the 49ers have done in the mid-rounds and been able to pick these guys. Is there a guy in this class or a guy that you're particularly looking at in these workouts right now?
I'll try to, they're all my children, John, so I try to watch them all.
He loves them all equally.
Guys. Yeah. But I would say the one guy I'm kind of curious to see what he looks like on the practice field is Robert Beal. And, that's an area, I think, where there's an opportunity for a talented guy like he is, an edge rusher from Georgia, to step in, do one thing, do it very well, kind of create a niche as an outside pass rusher in nickel situations. He's an impressive guy. Man, he has a great voice, great baritone voice. Yeah, so that probably will not have zero impact on his ability to play football. That was just, I kind of threw that in as an aside. But no, I'm looking forward to seeing him work with Chris Kocurek and seeing how he takes to the coaching, and just looking forward to seeing his motor, because he's a guy that was a very highly recruited guy, tons of talent. And he had a good, I believe it was his junior year at Georgia, 6.5 sacks. But his other 3 seasons, not a whole lot of sack production. But he comes here with the idea of, this is the one thing you're going to do. We'll start here. You'll rush the passer. There's a quarterback, go get him, and kind of see where it goes from there. So he's a guy that I think does have an impact, or have a chance to make an impact immediately with the 49ers nickel pass rush.
GTFO.
Yeah,
that's what he's
exactly
got. And that's what we got to do, Matt. It's 12:40.
All right, we'll let you go. Let's go.
All right, get the freak out of here.
Oh, good. I was wondering how we were going to flip
That's how he did it.
Yeah.
All right, man.
Good job.
Thank you for making the time. We appreciate it. And Jair Brown can wait. Thank you.
Always my pleasure to throw flowers at you guys, compliment you, and then have Greg Papa just
12-5
on my throat.
12-5, bro. You're killing me. GTFO, Maiocco.
Good work. Congrats on that. By the way, congrats on the other night, man. That looked really cool. I know I've attended those, and you just do a great job with it. So congrats.
That's awesome. Thanks, John.
Yeah, man.
And then the other guy.
Love you, Maddie. Love you, Maddie.
See you, man. Right, that's Matt Maiocco, the Golden Heart Foundation. Very cool. Yeah, you got a lot of stuff out of Kyle. I got to be honest with you. Now that Matt's gone, if I had courtside seats to that game the other night, I would have been like, "Oh, I'm
shocked he didn't
go."
Well.
Not feeling well.
I think that event started right there, so it wasn't like he was on the way or something.
Exactly.
Wow.
All right, we'll get you back
so
to
Joe Lacob calls Kyle, and I got seats right next to me.
How cool is that?
Wow.
He didn't have nothing against Kyle. Wow. It's just like with. He's had Prince sit next to him. He's Jay-Z and Beyonce.
He said, I don't have the seats right next to me, but I have them the ones right between Kim and Chloe.
Yeah.
Do you still not want to go?
Oh, no kidding, right? Yeesh. Anyway. All right. 1 o'clock hour.
Send Bosa.
That's what he should have done. Bosa courtside. About 17 minutes away, we'll get you your foreplay to preview Warriors and Lakers tonight. In the meantime, we'll reset all the stories, including Anthony Davis, the health of Anthony Davis, and more importantly, for Warriors fans, the health of one Andrew Wiggins. We'll do it next on the Sports Leader.
Do yourself a favor. Download the KNBR app on your smartphone. You'll be glad you did. This is KNBR 104.5 FM and 680 AM.
We love this on Friday. Thanks for joining us. Warriors and Lakers tonight. Another must win. We got some information for you. So here's what we got coming up. Do not miss it. Casey Schmidt is joining us at 1 o'clock. I'm still working on my intro. Hey, Casey. How's it going, Casey? Hey, what's up, Casey? What's up, dude? I'm just kind of, figuring out how I'm going to bring Casey onto the show. But Casey Schmidt's joining us, future Hall of Famer at 1 o'clock. Ramona Shelburne will join us from ESPN, senior writer. She's down in LA. First. 1:15.
We love Ramona.
Yeah, we love Ramona. Love her. She's great.
I'm trying to find out about the likelihood that Andrew Wiggins plays or not. Jeff Van Gundy kind of dismissed it out of hand. The Warriors are they're actually shooting at the arena today, and so Ramona, I don't know if she'll be there for that, but they had film and the shoot around at the arena at 10, so they don't typically do that. Maybe they want to fit Andrew up with some kind of a protective device, whether he flacks it up or tapes it up or something. And how bad is it? It's a rib cartilage fracture, not a rib fracture itself, but it's. And Durant had that, missed a couple of weeks, John. So I know Coach Van Gundy, Jeff is from the old school, and he just play, tape a few aspirins on it and go out there and play. But these are basketball players, not football players. They're not used to taking painkillers, so. That'll be a big talking point. We'll talk to Ramona about Andrew Wiggins' availability tonight after you gush all over Roy Casey Schmidt.
Casey Schmidt. Boy, I tell you, I'm not asking his family's wonderful, and that was a cool moment the other night. I'm not asking them to change his name or anything like that or get a stage name. But, man, I know at some point, it's probably not going to be us because you and I are such professionals, but there is going to be somebody who's going to
What, do you want to change
slip.
his name to what?
Well, Schmidt is
Holy?
Schmidt
Is that where you want to go?
Somebody's going to screw that thing up, man.
You want to go holy?
I mean, if we were taking bets right now, I mean, Kipe gets pretty wound up. Casey Schmidt. Oh, nah, he won't.
Mighty Casey. I think you got to stay. You got to stay away from the Schmidt.
You do, that's especially like big home run calls or something. You get overly excited, and that's a tough one.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. But
let
it'll happen.
Schmidt pitch.
People love this, by the way. This is even better, dare I say. And I'm not. This isn't a personal thing. It's just when Brock Purdy came aboard and was so hot, we had all those puns and everything for Purdy good and all that kind of stuff. Now it's like Schmidt happens, and I mean, my goodness, man.
Well, the best Brock nickname, we had to kind of dance around. You were very good at that, but we couldn't.
The Rooster.
Right out and say, yeah, Big Brock.
Yeah. Man, it just went right to that
Big
too.
Nick.
Like second day was like Purdy good. Then it was like Big Rooster Brock. Like right away. Like that's
cock of the walk, baby.
He's a cock of the walk.
I mean, and Brock was nominated. He was there on honors to be the Offensive Rookie of the Year, which is pretty amazing. He only started 7 games. This guy got up in time where he could be the National League Rookie of the Year. So we'll see. We'll see where it all goes. But do we ever do a poll today?
No.
Is it a nickname for KC? 49er wins,
thinking about
biggest
that.
game in Warrior history. We never done anything.
I guess we got to do. I mean, geez, we only got an hour left, but I guess we'll do 49ers wins right before the season starts. But Maddie said 12. I said 13. Let me just ask you this real quick, and then we'll get into some Warriors, and we'll talk to Casey Schmidt at the top and Ramona Shelburne at 1:15. But I mean, you brought up a good point that I hadn't thought of while I was kind of doing this thing. Is that Maddie Maiocco said 12 wins. That's nice. 13 wins, which is what I predicted.
Much
That's
better.
really good.
Well, 14's better.
But what you pointed out is really interesting because it's, the 49ers, look, man, it's Super Bowl or bust for them. So 14 probably wins the NFC. I mean, 13's really nice. 12's really good. It probably wins the division. Maybe. Seattle's pretty good, but you're probably striving for 14. That's what you want. You want home field throughout the NFC.
Well, when you were doing the Niners Red and Gold report, I was doing the Eagles schedule. They open in New England in Foxborough the night that Robert Kraft is going to fet Tom Brady. And then they have a Thursday night game at home against Minnesota. They've got a tough schedule. They got to play at Kansas City in a rematch of the Super Bowl on Monday Night Football. So right off the top, I would say if they go 12-5, that'll be enough, I think, to win the NFC West. I don't know if it's enough to win the NFC. It's a big difference. And then you're 13-4, although you have 3 home losses.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I'm going to probably rework that.
But the key thing is you have them beating Philadelphia. That is the game because that's the number 1 tiebreaker. If they end up with the exact same 1-loss record, then whoever wins that game will be the number 1 seed. So you actually have a 2-game difference, and you're 12-5. The Maddie's 12-5. They lose to Philadelphia, and you have them going 13-4 and beating Philadelphia. So if it's the 13-4 where they win at the
That's
Link
true.
on December the
Maybe they
3rd,
have the same record.
Then I think they win the tiebreaker. Then I think your chances are pretty strong of being the number 1 seed.
Well, again, the only reason I brought that up, and like that's a tough stretch right there. Their early schedule is easier, at least on paper. You got the Cowboys coming in week 5, but as far as win losses last year, than what it is from that particular point. There's a lot of good teams after that, but there is a tough stretch in which the Bengals bye week, at the Jags on a 10 a.m. The Bucs stink, but okay. Then at Seattle, at the Eagles, and then back playing the Seahawks at home. So that stretch, and I guess I should throw the Vikings in there, although I don't believe in Kirk Cousins on a big stage. But from week 7 to 14, you're going at Vikings versus Bengals, at the Jags on a 10 a.m., Bucs at Seattle, at the Eagles versus the Seahawks. You and I identify every single year the tough stretches of the schedule. That's the one this year. That's a huge stretch. A lot of tough teams.
Holy Schmidt, John.
Yeah,
it's 12:52.
Oh.
Do you want to be late
All right, no, we won't.
for sensational Schmitty?
No.
Casey at the bat, the mighty Casey?
No, I can't keep a Hall of Famer waiting.
You got to start fawning over him when we come back. Holy Schmidt, how did it get to be 12:52?
Casey Schmidt's going to join us coming up next. All he's done is 8 for 12 with a couple of home runs early on in this whole thing. Let's talk to him about how it is all feeling, get the backstory and everything. Casey Schmidt, Giants infielder, next. Only here on the Sports Hitter. This is John Lund from my good friends at the Dolan Law Firm. You know, you hear ads for personal injury and employment attorneys all the time, but did you know that many of them, they're not even based here? Many times, you'll never even see the attorney you thought you were hiring. Chris Dolan and the Dolan Law Firm, they've been headquartered in the Bay Area for more than 25 years. The award-winning attorneys at the Dolan Law Firm, they're dedicated to relentlessly representing their clients in the pursuit of justice. Chris Dolan and the Dolan attorneys at the Dolan Law Firm, they've been repeatedly recognized as not only the best attorneys in the San Francisco Bay Area, but the entire state of California. The Dolan Law Firm has recovered more than, get this, $1 billion. That's a B, $1 billion in verdicts and settlements for their clients. They know that a serious injury, harassment, or act of discrimination, it can be devastating. They'll evaluate your case for free, confidentially, with no obligation on your part, never charging you an hourly fee. They get paid when you get paid. The Dolan Law Firm. They live here. They work here. They win here. Online at dolanlawfirm.com.
Listen to the sports leader anywhere, anytime. Download the all-new KNBR app. Now back to Papa and Lund live from the KNBR Casino Matrix studio. Casino Matrix progressive jackpots are here. Where are you? Just drop in. Please play responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
2-0 pitch. Schmidt hits a high drive down the left field line. This one is gone into the second deck. He just unloaded on that pitch. A towering home run, the second homer of his brand new big league career. And that one was demolished. Maybe the humidor got taken out of play for Casey's at bat.
You said, what about being hitter friendly? That ball is out of any ballpark. That ball was absolutely scalded.
All right, Casey Schmidt's going to join us in a couple of minutes.
Say that slowly, John.
Casey Schmidt.
Exit velo 111.6 and 443 feet later. Wow.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
And he threw a baseball 92.7 miles per hour. He was the closer at San Diego State.
Yeah, I'm looking at his numbers.
Out. Could he hit 97.2?
As a freshman, he had like an 0.78 ERA. That's pretty good.
Is that good?
By the way, what Harry Callis used to say, Michael Jack Schmidt. He's Casey Sean. Yeah, Casey Sean. That's strong.
Sean Estes.
Casey Sean. That's right. That's
what spelled the same way as Estes.
Casey Schmidt, all he's done so far, 8 of 12, a couple of home runs. Got the one at Oracle that was fun. And then in Arizona yesterday, hits another massive shot, plays great defense as well, and he's going to join us. And it's going to be interesting to talk to him because, like you said, came up, we were all talking third base, but then David VR had that, then J.D. Davis took that, and we know Brandon Crawford's a little bit older, so he's working at shortstop down at Sacramento, and then they say, oh, geez, we might need him at second, so then he moves over to second base. So real talented guy. He's added a lot of buzz to the organization through a couple of games, and we'll talk to him in just a second.
So they had a list of the San Diego State players that preceded them, and obviously the great Tony Gwynn of the 5.5 hole, Bud Black, Tony Clark, Mark Grace, Harold Reynolds, Steven Strasburg. But the name that caught my eye is the great Greg Nettles, the New York Yankee third baseman, who did not win enough Gold Gloves in the American League. George Brett, Nettles was up earlier in Cleveland and then went to the Yankees. But defensively, to my eyes, there wasn't anybody better than Greg Nettles. And I see a little Greg Nettles in Casey Schmidt, John.
Let's get to it. That's another one of the greats. And Casey Schmidt, rookie. I was going to say third baseman, but he's a shortstop. He's an infielder. He's a second baseman. He's jack of all trades, 8 of 12 with a couple of home runs to start off his major league career. And Casey Schmidt joins us courtry of the Uma Gesheim. What's happening? How are you?
How's it going? Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for making the time. We appreciate it. Just kind of tell us how it's going so far. I mean, to get off to this kind of a start. Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm learning a lot, and I just really enjoy being up here and just kind of being around the guys. And it's a dream come true. It's amazing.
Yeah, obviously the bomb you hit last night and your debut in your second AB with your family there, and it's amazing. But to watch you play shortstop, Casey, you just play with a joy, a glimmer in your eye. It's just like you got this. And the guy that's there to help you going back to spring training is Brandon Crawford. One of my favorite moments of last night is when you underhanded the ball to Tyro and you turned the double play. You came right in, did not go to the dugout bench at all. You came right to the top step where Craw was, sat down right next to him. I know he coached you up and you played the next ball on the backhand side differently, but just what has it been to be around a 4-time Gold Glover at shortstop like Brandon Crawford, Casey, and to learn from him?
Yeah, he's been amazing. He's helped me out so much, and I'm very grateful for him. And he's one of the best to ever do it. And any tips that he has for me, I'm all ears. And Yeah, yesterday, it was like that ball in the hole. I kind of fielded it a little awkwardly, kind of threw it off balance, and my immediate thought, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go ask Carl about it. What he thinks, what should I have done differently, and that's when I went over there and sat next to him and started talking about it. And he's been amazing. He's really awesome with me, and he's really helped me a lot.
Casey Schmidt is joining us, Giants rookie. It's Pop and Lund here on the Sports Leader. So help us get to know you. I mean, you went to San Diego State. Obviously, you pitched and you obviously played in the field. You grew up in Southern California. Just tell us what we need to know about Casey Schmidt.
At the end of the day, I just want to win. I want to have fun. I really enjoy playing baseball. I wake up every morning and I'm just so excited to be able to go to the park and go out and compete. And I'm enjoying it so much. And this is, like I said, it's just a dream come true for me.
Hell of a week for you, young man. You just soak it all in. They're not going to go every day as well as the first three have gone for you. So I was talking before you got on. I think you heard a little bit about Greg Nettles, the great Yankee, was playing well before you were born. But a San Diego State Aztec as yourself, have you been around? Has he come around to visit you when you were playing? Because when I watch you play third with your footwork, you do remind me of the great Greg Nettles, Casey.
I'm not sure I got the chance to meet him, but I could be wrong. I can't remember off the top of my head.
You would remember because he was a quick wit. He had a great line. He's the one that gave the lines about Reggie Jackson. But you actually patterned your game off a former Giant, now turned Arizona Diamondback third baseman.
Yeah, definitely.
Longo.
Yeah. And he was so much fun to watch. He's a special player, and I really enjoyed watching him when I'm growing up. And third base. I played third base too. He was someone that I really loved, kind of modeling my game after a little bit, and
Hey, Casey, a second-round pick out of San Diego State in 2020, and you didn't show a ton of power there, and then early with San Jose, you get hit by a pitch. We were talking to Andrew Baggarly about it, and I guess you were taking a picture in the back of the ambulance if you want to, and send it to your teammates if you want to comment on that. But then in 2022, it really took off. You hit 17 with Eugene. We've seen you hit a couple there. You only hit one in AAA. It just tell us about the power, because I look at your build and I think this is a guy that's going to have a lot of power, but a lot of times that kind of just takes time to develop.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, I got hit by a pitch my first year, and that year was kind of unfortunate for me. But for me, I look at it as kind of like a little life lesson. There's a lot of things that are out of your control, and for me now, I kind of go within my business with control what you can control, and just come with a great attitude. And last year was amazing. I went into spring training that year. I was still kind of struggling with some like mental side things of hitting, but the staff and everyone's been just so amazing with me. They've really helped me out. They've really pushed me forward, and I'm very grateful for them, and I'm just very grateful to be a part of such an amazing organization.
So that's obviously why you wear the face guard on your batting helmet. Is that something you're going to wear for the rest of your career?
Yeah, probably, definitely. Yeah, I wore one, and it's funny. I got hit in the face. I was actually wearing one too, but it missed it, or it deflected off the corner or something. Yeah, but it got me pretty good that year. And then the hand guard too. I wear a hand guard now after I got hit in the wrist, fractured my wrist. Now I got both those covered up.
From a standpoint, and look, we haven't seen you play a ton. I did see you play down at San Jose. We've seen a ton of highlights and everything like that. But it seems like just in the little that we've seen you play as a Giant, that you have that exuberance, that love for the game. That not everybody has that. A lot of guys are good at a certain sport, but it doesn't mean they're going to be passionate and love it. It seems like you do have that.
Yeah, 100% for me. After a game, I'll literally go home and I'll watch baseball, or I'll watch like a highlight video on YouTube or something. And it's just something that I love, and I've always loved it since I was younger. And I don't get bored of it. I can watch it all day, and especially from being at the yard all day, and coming home, the first thing that I'm doing is I'm putting on the TV, seeing what's on. So it's I love the game, and I love that I'm able to play it.
Have you gone back and watched the TV copy of any of your first three games? Because the one thing that strikes me, your skill is obvious, especially at short, but you just play with a glimmer in your eye. you have an attitude like, just hit the ball to me, I got this. Have you watched any of yourself and seen the way you exude confidence in these first 3 Major League games?
I haven't really seen. I've seen a little bit of it. Yeah, I've seen the people that kind of send me some of the videos that my mom will. My mom loves sending me videos of me playing, and I'll watch them. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, for me, I'm just trying to be as calm as possible, and just trying to be as confident as possible. And at the end of the day, I want to win and have fun. So, yeah.
Casey Schmidt is doing this, and I know you did the interview on TV after your first game, but I just want to hear it from you, and I'm sure a lot of fans who are listening do as well. Just what kind of a moment was that when? Because look, Greg and I have sons and everything, and you're just so proud of your kids when they accomplish things, and it's just such an amazing moment to have all your family and have everybody there, and you hit the home run. I mean, that's fairy tale kind of stuff. So how cool was just that night to have your family, to do what you did, and just experience all that on your first night?
Yeah, it was it was unbelievable. That whole day was just so special to me, and especially to my family and my friends. It was I can't put it into words the feelings that were going on, but I was just so happy, and I was just so excited that I was able to do that in front of my family and friends and the Giants fans and stuff. So it was that was just such a special moment for me, and it's something that I'm never going to forget, and it was just amazing.
And having your grandma there, I mean, just amazing. How many of those folks made the trip to Arizona? It sounded like you had a cheering section last night.
Yeah, I had a couple of coaches and one of my childhood friends was there. But yeah, my family they're coming up again. They're on the way right now, so they're going to be at the game tonight. But yeah, it's so cool just to see how they're all just like traveling to come see me, and so it's really special.
It was cool too after that first night, and probably coming up. I don't want to speak for you, but you're going into a new clubhouse now. You knew these guys in spring training, and you had a great spring training. But I'm sure that you come up and you want to fit in, you want to contribute. And they had a great video of you going into the clubhouse after that first game, and everybody kind of welcomed you. What did that feel like to know that like the guys that you play with and guys that you watched growing up are like, wow, I'm really part of this now?
Yeah, that was amazing. It was really special, and it just I don't know, it was crazy. Just walking up those steps and just kind of seeing the lights going off through the doors, and then they open the doors, and then we go in, and it was awesome. It just makes me feel very special, and I'm just, like I said, I'm just really excited that I'm able to be a part of something this great.
It is great and very exciting for us to watch your skill. Obviously in the box, 8 for 12, but on defense, Casey, you're just special. The play you made in the hole last night after talking to Craw and you took it on the backhand, and then the throw over the top, 92.7 miles per hour, the second fastest infield assist in the majors this year. Craw had one at 92.8 a couple of years ago. Being a former closer at San Diego State, how hot could you throw a fastball?
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, so in college, I would be around 4 to 5, and I would touch 96. I would top out at 96 on the mound. But yeah, I was mainly just used as just the closer role. I did have a couple of starts, but it was mainly used out of the closer role.
All right, so I got a funny story for you. So when you were down in San Jose, I'm an avid card collector. I got my son into it, and we pulled a pack that had like 2 autographed cards of yours. There were a couple of rare ones, right? And so we've had a joke on the show for years, like this Casey Schmidt guy, man, he's going to pay for my kid going through college. And so we were just kind of joking around. And then we would have text change because one of our guys, Mike Kohler, works down in San Jose with the Giants. He would text me every time you'd like, oh, he got, when you got hit by the pitch and then, came back, you started hitting home runs and like, whoa, he's a really good defensive guy. And then you start doing things. So we just had a running joke on the show, like, you're putting my kid through college. So I really appreciate you putting my son through
no
college.
No pressure, Casey. Just do your thing.
I'm divorced and paid an ex-wife. I got a couple of kids. They're trying to go through college, but I'm just very appreciative.
Can you homer every other game, Casey?
If you could just keep this going, that would be absolutely great. I'm just letting you know. No pressure whatsoever, though. Just letting you know. Oh, man.
Can you go 8 for 12 every 3 games?
8 for 12 would be great. No. Hey, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Cut you off.
Oh man.
No pressure. Hey, Casey, thanks. We appreciate the time. I know you're after a great start, keeping things even keeled, but great start. A lot of fun, I can tell you, for a lot of fans. It's been a lot of fun watching your family, watching you go through this process. I know a long way to go. They're going to make adjustments. You're going to make adjustments, but it's great to have you up here, and congratulations on the start.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on.
You got it. All right, there you go. There's Casey Schmidt. I thought that I composed myself quite well.
You handled it so professionally at the top.
Yeah, and then at the end.
It was like, really? That's how he's going to bring him on? And then at the end, you broke out the knee pads.
Yeah, and then he was
and you just slobbered all over.
He was like, he's like, oh, this is very awkward.
I like the way you did that. Hey, you did that in the first question?
No, you can't do that in the first question. Right. Yeah, you always the stuff at the end that you're not sure about, or the questions you're not sure about, you always go at the end because then they're gone. He'll probably never come on the show again, but
that's the dumb one on the way out.
Exactly. I had to do it. I had to talk to him about it. So
poor guy, you got to put him in a slump. It's the pop and one curse. With you putting financial pressure on your family on the young man.
He goes 0 for 5 with five punchies.
Don't.
What is that called? The golden sombrero or platinum sombrero, whatever they call it.
No.
No, that's not happening.
That's not happening. Mighty Casey.
I can put my own kid through college, and I'm used to paying all the other stuff. Whatever, no big deal. It's not a big deal.
He's still got a lot of aw shucks in him.
He does.
I mean, he's not a young kid. Right. He's 24.
No.
Isn't that nice though? He's still got a lot of aw shucks.
And it's you and I. We've both got family and everything, and it's fun watching your kids succeed. So for his family to be driving around watching this stuff, and he's from Southern California, and so, it's a quick jump up here. It's a quick jump over there. And, it's kind of cool. But anyway, you mentioned this earlier. I mean, just the exuberance that he has. It's fun. It's fun. Cool stuff. He has
put a lot of pressure on it.
Yeah, I know.
Well, my son is just wrapping up his first year of law school today, taking his final exam.
Well, that's huge.
Maybe he could be Casey Schmidt's agent, John.
That'd be good.
And I can go into retirement like Greg O'Donnell is advising me to do. The O'Donnell Financial Group.
Oh, that's beautiful. All right.
1-866-496-2300.
You are incredible.
Sorry.
Absolutely incredible. All right. Thanks to Casey Schmidt for giving us a few minutes of his time.
Holy
we'll come back.
Schmidt!
It is. Oh, man. We should ask him about that as well, dude.
What do you want
now
for a
just
nickname?
Screw his name. We need
Casey,
a nickname for something.
Holy Schmidt.
Because I know it's going to be this show. It's just going to start flowing, and there we go, and then we're in trouble. All right, coming up next, Ramona Shelburne. We'll get back to the Warriors and the Lakers tonight. Anthony Davis, Andrew Wiggins. Oh, we moved it to 1:30. Oh, perfect. We get in some foreplay sound for you. Get a little bit of sound. And then we'll talk to Ramona. So 1:30 for Ramona. She was just on TV anyway. She needs a break, Kind of like us all day being on TV now. By the way, I got to tell you that the wardrobe changes. I feel like I'm watching Beyonce in concert. Man.
It's a concert.
This is
more
amazing.
like Lady Gaga.
Or maybe,
Gaga
Lady
changes
Gaga.
costumes more than
true.
she
there
sings.
You go. She does.
It's like she was here a minute ago. Where the hell did she go for 10 minutes?
It's amazing if you go to KNBR.com, use the app, and we've got the cameras in the studios now on YouTube and Twitch. And what's great about it is like I know what topic, because sometimes I get drunk in the studio, which I can't do anymore because people are watching. But and it's like, oh, what were we going to talk about? Then I look over and you've got it covered. You've changed every topic we do. You're in character for it. I love it.
I like the team dress, John. You know that.
I love this.
So we should do a poll. Which hat and shirt combination do you like?
I like the rally cap you got going.
You like that one?
I like it a lot.
That's for Holy Schmidt. Get this team to 500.
Well, now my question would be this. So we're going to talk to Ramona at 1:30.
Going Warriors.
I don't know that we're going to do Caboose Day, although I have one.
Oh, I got something for the Caboose.
I was just going to say, like, what?
I got something for the
Caboose. Are you going to go, like, are you going to go birthday suit?
Either Benoit balls or dildos, John. I got every orifice covered.
Yeah, I was just wondering. I was like, what is he going to do for Caboose? I do have one.
Right in the nasal cavity. I got every orifice will be filled. No matter where you're going. Even naked Bartman, I come there.
What a great story that is. Naked Bartman is amazing. What a classic.
I miss you, Mike.
All right, here's what we'll do. So we'll give you a couple of pieces of sound, and then we'll talk to Ramona. And I do have to fit in one, and boy, that's an ironic thing to say. There is one Caboose story that I have to fit in today.
Are you doing that next segment or foreplay?
I guess we'll do foreplay, but I don't know if we're going to get all four, but we'll get a couple in to get you kind of ready for Ramona and let you hear from the principals of the game tonight, and then I will get that one in before the top of the hour because it is a classic Caboose story, and I just don't know what you're going to wear, or maybe you'll wear nothing.
Can you give me what's the topic? Alligators on a plane, snakes on a plane,
ping pong balls. Paddles and ping pong balls.
Table tennis.
Yeah, there you go. Table tennis.
I'll pull out a few paddles.
They're not exactly using these items as they were intended. That's, your typical fare on a Friday especially. So there you go. All right, all that coming up. Pop in London here on the Sports Leader.
Here's what's trending now. On KNBR.com.
Not great news in a must-win game for the Warriors, of course, down in L.A. Andrew Wiggins listed questionable for Game 6. Got some ribs, and a rib issue. I do like ribs, but I do not like Andrew Wiggins with injured ribs. That story and more trending right now on the all-new KNBR app.
Beat LA. Beat LA. Holy Schmidt. We got Giants on TV tonight. We got the Warriors on TV tonight. A big game. So what do you do tonight to get ready? You have to carb load. You got to go to the North Beach. Tony's Pizza Napolitana by the great Tony Gemignani in the North Beach. Whether you're a fan of New York style, Jersey style, Detroit, New Haven, California, or St. Louis pizza, Tony G has every style of mouth-watering, award-winning pizza. He also makes all the traditionals like Neapolitan, Graham, and Sicilian pizzas. He has other restaurants in the North Beach besides Tony's. He has Capo's, Detroit-style, Chicago deep dish, and cracker-thin tavern-style pizza. He also has cocktails. It is a Friday happy hour, full bar, artisan cocktails, a curated wine list, and they make other things beside pizza pie, Italian beef sandwiches, fresh house-made pasta, and Italian sausages, and save room for dessert. You got all the Italian specialties like gelato, tiramisu, and holy cannoli Game 6 clay. Tony Gemignani is a 13-time World Pizza Champion known for making the best pizza in the world. Look for his Slice House locations across the Bay Area.
And now, time for the Protect Your Assets with David Hollander Business and Technology Report. Time for some foreplay with Papa and Lund.
I'm Dirk Diggler.
4 chunks of audio that really get you going.
I have a gift, and I am trying to not be selfish about it, but to use it.
On KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
What's happening? Thanks for joining us. I didn't know we were going to do foreplay. We're doing foreplay, right? Sorry. Smoking crack over here. That's the one thing with this new camera, these cameras.
Throwing you off.
No drinking in the studio.
Casey,
smoking
what do you
weed.
mean no drinking in the studio?
I just put it in a different can.
It's legal in California, John, both alcohol and weed.
All right, let's start with this. We'll get through a few of these, and then Ramona Shelburne is going to join us at the bottom of the hour. Dave McMenamin joined us earlier from ESPN. Anthony Davis, we talked about the concussions. He says there is no scenario in which AD doesn't play.
I spoke to a source close to Davis this morning who told me that he believes there's not any scenario that he can envision where Anthony Davis does not play in Game 6. The source added, quote, "It's the playoffs." So certainly Davis will continue to be monitored by the Lakers. The team has off today. They're not practicing. They're not gathering for film or anything of the sort. Let everybody rest their bodies up for this pivotal Game 6. But things are trending in the direction that we're going to see Anthony Davis back in the lineup on Friday night.
We're going to hear from Draymond Green in just a second in regards to Andrew Wiggins and how much he has meant in this series, especially last time out. But it sounds like Anthony Davis is going to play, as Dave McMenamin said there, who was on our show earlier from ESPN. I guess I'm a little bit surprised by it just from the standpoint of, man, that night it didn't look good, and I did read up on the concussion protocol. Even if he had gone into it yesterday, you can't play for 48 hours.
But he didn't go in.
He wouldn't have played, yeah, exactly.
He didn't go in. So they checked it out, their team doctors. My question would be, how close to a concussion was he? And is there going to be an aftershock if he takes a hit tonight? Is he more likely to suffer a concussion tonight based on what he experienced on Wednesday night? And I think the Warriors are going to be physical with him. This is a physical series. Those guys are physical. Every Anthony Davis drive to the basket is a car crash. It's a head-on block charge collision. It just goes on. And Draymond's not going to back away from that. He's going to be there to stand right up to him and take the head-on. And they all will. And then when he's guarding defensively, they're going to be physical with him. So I'm sure he'll start the game. But he's got other issues as well. You know, he had the hip thing, he had the foot thing, he had the arm thing going back to the Memphis series. He's always walking around like it happened to him. So I'm sure he'll start tonight. He's listed as probable. He should go. But is he more vulnerable for some kind of a aftershock based on what happened to him, John, 2 nights ago?
All right, here's Draymond Green on his podcast. He compliments Andrew Wiggins on how well he played in Game 5. But the question is, will he be able to play tonight?
Wiggs, two-way Wiggs, came out with 25, 7 boards, 5 assists, and incredible defense on the other end. That was a point in the game where he started picking Bron up, like, way out past half court. And someone asked me, like, do you like Wiggs picking up that high out? Like, why is he picking up Bron? And I said, that's the competitive juices. Like, what do you mean? Do you like it, or why is he doing it? Because when you're out there on the floor and the juices, you get the competitive juices flowing, you just go with it. And so in that moment, he's like, forget that. I'm picking him up. And like on one of those plays, I was able to get the block on AD behind, because when you got a guy that's doing that, that's putting that effort out there, regardless of what it is. When you have to be behind the play, ready to react. When he's picking up like that full, he has to know somebody got me covered if I get beat.
All right, so the big question is, he just gives him all those compliments, and then we find out about the rib cartilage. What happens if he's either compromised or doesn't play? What do the Warriors do?
He's questionable. I just texted the Warriors, is he going to play? So, I think they had a shoot around this morning. Maybe Ramona was there. I got some news. They had film in the shoot at 10, and now they're locking and loaded. It's a rib cartilage fracture on the left side of his body. We all know where it is. LeBron put it there with the elbow, on that box out. What Draymond's talking about there, when Draymond guards LeBron, he doesn't guard that way. He plays the opposite. He sags off him. He gaps him. He gives him the outside shot. Wiggins is a little different athlete than Draymond, but he gets up into him and he turns him. And, the reason you don't want to do that is that plays to LeBron's strength. You don't want him to turn into freight train LeBron. So if you're going to play up into him, he's going to put it on the deck and try to drive by you. But what he's saying is that he has the confidence to Draymond and Kavan, whoever's behind, to pick him up. But it's a little different strategy with LeBron. All we're hearing from the Warriors, they hope so, that he'll be able to play. So I think they're going to continue to list him as questionable and probably won't know right until pregame shoot.
Yeah, and again, Kendra Andrews, our friend, saying the same thing. She was at shoot-around today and said the word was hopeful. So that's where we are as far as Andrew Wiggins is concerned. Let's find out more. Of course, Ramona Shelburne does a tremendous job covering all of the NBA for ESPN. What is she hearing ahead of Game 6? And, of course, she lives in L.A. as well. So we'll get a thought on both the Lakers and the Warriors with Ramona Shelburne. We'll do it next, only here on the Sports Leader.
Greg Papa here. It was just about a year ago at this time that I went down and visited my good friend Dr. Craig Bindi in the Laser Eye Center of Silicon Valley and found out that I am a candidate and was a candidate for the CLR procedure, custom lens replacement. I had that procedure done on June the 23rd, literally in the chair for 20 minutes, and my eyesight went from 20/60 to 20/20. I could see. I went back a few weeks later, and they adjusted some things, and I don't need glasses at all to drive a car, to read a newspaper, to prepare my 49er notes, and right now I got 20/20 vision in all regards. John Lund heard me talking about it. He went in this fall, and he had the CLR procedure done as well. So if you're like us and you're sick and tired of wearing glasses or contacts to get through your day, I strongly encourage you to call and schedule your free consultation with the team at the Laser Eye Center of Silicon Valley. They've taken care of patients for over 25 years, including over 100 NFL players, and they want to help you as well. So call now and schedule your free consultation, 877-GET-2020, or you can visit them online at bayarea2020.com.
Every single interview from every single show. Hear them on demand at knbr.com/podcasts. We are the sports leader.
Thanks for joining us. Pop and Lund on a Friday edition. Another must-win for the Warriors. Of course, down 3-1. They get the win at Chase. And now, maybe without Andrew Wiggins, they're taking on the Lakers to try to keep their season alive and then force a Game 7 on Mother's Day on Sunday. And Ramona Shelburne from ESPN, who does a tremendous job. And by the way, happy early Mother's Day to you. Ramona Shelburne joins us courtesy of the Open Guest Line. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, we're doing good. We're by the way, Mother's Day. You have big plans for Mother's Day? Maybe a Game 7?
Game 7.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
It's probably Game 7. So we're just going to do our Mother's Day tomorrow. Right? We'll just do it here in LA on Saturday. Because I was like, I don't want to leave it up in the air because I have my mom too, and everybody got a plan, and my sister-in-law. So I was like, let's just do it Saturday.
I like your thought, because that means you're coming back for a Game 7 here on Sunday. They got to win Game 6 and they got to win Game 7, otherwise they're eliminated. And whether or not it's the last dance or not, I mean, it's different. Michael won 3 championships with a different, Horace Grant, and then later with Dennis Rodman and John Paxson and Steve Kerr. It changes, and likewise with Magic, he had a different group, different head coach. He had Bob McAdoo backing up Kareem, and later it was Michael Thompson. But in the larger scheme, and Steph's always going to be here, Clay wants a supermax, Draymond can opt out. But the situation with Bob Myers, Ramona, really to me is most befuddling. His contract is up. Why is it up? What's going to happen there? And then Steve Kerr only has 1 more year on his contract. So I guess we're looking at the possibility of the end tonight or tomorrow. But let me just start with Bob Myers and the curious situation. What are you hearing on why he does not have a contract beyond July?
I think you should think of Bob like Sean McVay. I think he truly doesn't know what he wants to do. And there is, it's really hard to make big life decisions about the future in the middle of all of this. Like, it's kind of better to just take some time and see how you feel at the end of the season, see how you feel with how it wraps up, and what, do they come back and win? Do they go all the way? Do they lose tonight? Like, I think all of that kind of matters. And then it also, I think part of the reason why we don't have an answer is because he doesn't have an answer. Right? That's is the simplest way to put it. They'd obviously like to keep him, but they all, they just need to give him some time to make some decisions. And I don't think this is. I don't think that's on anybody's mind going into this Game 6, right? Like, I think that being around this team right now, as important as Bob has been to the architecture of this team, like, they're focused on pick and roll defenses and whether Wiggins can go tonight, and they're focused on, making sure Clay gets going instead of pressing. I mean, it's, that's where the focus is right now, and I think that's why you got to give him some space to see how things fall at the end of this.
Ramona Shelburne joining us from ESPN, ESPN.com, ESPN TV as we get you ready for the Lakers and the Warriors. Since you brought it up, there's a number of things we can discuss, but you mentioned Clay, and you know Clay. You talked about Clay getting in the water. You hung out with Clay, and this seems out of character. Maybe he's pressing because it's the Lakers, but he just seems to be kind of wearing this, and when Clay's great, he's kind of just laid back Clay. So how does he get it going tonight?
Well, the one thing I thought was encouraging in the last game is that I thought he played pretty good defense. His shot's not falling. He's clearly pressing, trying to make something happen, right? Trying to summon the sort of the heroics that he has in the past. And you can't really force that stuff. It has to just happen. And so I think that's where he is right now. But I think, look, on the one hand, if the offense was affecting the defense, I think they'd be in a lot more trouble, right? But if he's still defensively bringing it, and I think it's even more important with what Andrew Wiggins is going through now. That's the most important thing. They can get other people to make some shots, right? If his shot's not falling, they can get other people to do that. But they don't have a limited number of perimeter defenders who've got size and strength and speed like Klay Thompson.
So you mentioned Wiggins, and he was so good in Game 5, 25 points in the defense on James. But, now we're hearing the report of the rib cartilage fracture. The Warriors list him as questionable. We thought, after the game where Anthony Davis obviously got hurt when he got hit inadvertently by Kavan on the side of the face, had the temple, that he may not be able to go. So it sounds like Anthony Davis is probable. What are your thoughts on Andrew Wiggins? Right now, the Warriors don't know if he's going to be able to go, and how does that impact the game if two-way Wiggs does not play tonight, Ramona?
I think he's going to play. I mean, that's my feeling about just in the whole situation. He wants to play. He's going to try to play. We'll find out if he does play, like how effective he can be with this injury, because he spent a lot of time defending LeBron James, and LeBron's just going to back down into him. He's going to back into him and target that chest injury. So it's already a painful injury. And then you're going to have 250-pound LeBron James barreling into you all night. I don't know. That's going to be a tough one for him to play through. But I think there's a desire to at least give it a go, to give it a try, and then we'll see how he feels first at the end of warmups, and then if he gets out there, how effective he can be.
Ramona Shelburne joining us. Obviously, we're talking Lakers and Warriors Game 6 tonight in L.A. Anthony Davis gets what looked like to me, if it wasn't a concussion, it was pretty significant. And the reaction from a lot of people from TNT, there were some guys on ESPN, and et cetera. Is he unfairly characterized? Because it seems like everybody's kind of waiting for him to fall down, waiting for him to get hurt, think he's soft. What do you make of all this?
It's interesting. Like, a lot of the reason he got in the wheelchair is because the locker room is really far away from where he was. Like, it's like, you've been to Chase Center. It's like the area he was going to his locker room was a really long walk. And so, if he really cared about that, I don't think he would have taken the wheelchair. He would have been like looking at it going, I don't want anyone to see me hurt right now. And, my team needs to see me. And, sometimes that matters. Like, sometimes, I remember, I'll never forget, Kobe was going to shoot the 2 free throws, and he walked off the court by himself after the Achilles, right? I think Clay did the same thing when he tore his knee, right? He walked through the hallway and had his torn knee, and he's like, I'm not going to let them carry me off. There's a sort of bravado that certain players have. I'm not going to let them carry me off, But if Anthony Davis, I think he was woozy. Like, they probably told him to sit in a wheelchair because it was a long walk. And if he's woozy, you don't want him falling. So I don't know. Like, he could have gone with the bravado of I don't want anyone to see me in the wheelchair. He could have done that, I guess. But maybe he truly doesn't care. That's my reaction to it. Maybe all that would have been was bravado, because it was a smart idea to put him in a wheelchair if he was losing for that long of a walk.
So how does this go down tonight? Are you coming back here for Mother's Day on Sunday? I mean, the Lakers got to treat this like this is a Game 7 and try to eliminate the defending champion. So the winner of this game tonight may win this series and go on to Denver on Tuesday. Ramona, how do you see it playing out tonight?
You know, it's interesting. This is exactly what the Lakers did in the first series, where they get up 3-1. They go on the road, kind of. I don't want to say they mailed it in, but once they got down, they weren't as sharp, and they kind of let go of the rope there, and Memphis won by quite a bit in that Game 5. They come home, and I remember feeling like all the pressure was on the Lakers, and that was the game Jack Nicholson showed up for the first time in 2 years, right? And the Lakers just played great. I thought Memphis. They were tight, they were young, they just made a lot of mistakes, and the Lakers got out to this huge lead early, and there was no doubt about it. I can't see the Warriors doing that. If the Warriors, it's going to be hard for them to win if Wiggins is compromised. I think that's going to be hard because he's been so important for them. But I don't think they go out with a whimper. I think they fight down to the end here. And it's just a matter of, how electric can Steph Curry be? How this Game 6 Clay come back? Can Draymond go for 20 again? Can they get something out of Jordan Poole? This is, I think it's going to be a really close game. Goes down to the final possession or two, and let's see if they lock in. I initially picked this as Warriors in 7. I got to be honest. Tonight, I feel like the Lakers will win this tonight because they know how important it is to win on your home court and not go back up there Sunday for a short turnaround Game 7. I'm going to be sad when the series is over one way or the other, because it's been like the finals. It's been like, I can't believe LeBron and Steph are playing each other in the second round, and we have 2 more rounds to go. It's kind of a letdown after this.
I would agree. That
feels like Father's Day is Sunday, not Mother's Day.
That's a great point. And just to kind of capitalize on what you're saying, I mean, this happens in all of the NBA. It happens in all of sports, where those secondary players, those role players, they tend to play better at home. So I'm looking at some of these guys. I think I know what a lot of these main guys are going to do, but it comes down to, or a lot of this series has come down to, a guy like Walker, or a guy like D'Angelo Russell, or on the Warriors side, some guys, like Moses Moody will hit some key shots, or whatever the case may be. And I look at the Lakers, and I think those kind of players have been pretty good at home.
Yeah, they've been good at home, but also, didn't you guys just watch them win 2 really tough road games in Sacramento?
Yeah.
Game 5 and 7, yeah.
Yeah, I like this team, and everything we've said about them on this year on the road is true, but it's kind of a different team, and let's see if they have one more gasp in them to summon that sort of championship swagger and focus that they did in the last series. It's a lot to ask. I'm tired just covering this because it's been every other day for 2 weeks. Last week it was every other day. It's like, come on. So I think it's a weird battle of just, can you summon the focus you need when you're really exhausted with this kind of a schedule, with these stakes? I've seen the Warriors do it. I've seen LeBron James do it. I haven't seen the rest of the Lakers team do it, but it doesn't mean they can't. That's
a great point. Ramona, thank you so much. And again, happy Mother's Day. We hope that you're covering the Warriors and Lakers, but I understand if you don't hope that. You got to have a Mother's Day.
I'm fine either way. It doesn't matter. It's all good.
Awesome.
Mother's Day is tomorrow.
Yep. There you go. Thanks, Ramona.
Happy Mother's Day.
Always appreciate it.
Guys.
You got it.
Thank you, Ramona.
This is kind of interesting. I hadn't seen this. This came out about an hour ago. Kevon Looney did speak from shoot-around today, and he said he obviously, we've talked about this today, had a similar rib fracture as Andrew Wiggins. He said it was a little bit higher up, but he did wear a flak jacket.
Yeah, I remember.
He did say it was painful, said it was difficult to play through, but he said the main difference for him versus Wiggins is, he says, quote-unquote, I didn't have to shoot, unquote. So that's
not
interesting.
too many face-up jump shots.
Yeah, so that's interesting. So it's going to be tough on him, man.
So the best way to handle that, John, not only wear a flak jacket, put a flask over
the flak jacket.
Yes. Flask it and flak it is the way to go. I know you would do that.
Yeah, I have a flask jacket. It's completely different. It just is a jacket that has a bunch of flasks in it. It's different than a flak jacket. But, hey, guys going to have to step up, man. Clay's going to have to be Clay. Poole's going to have to be Poole.
What Kevon's saying is that Wiggins will play, but he may not shoot a lot of threes tonight.
Yeah, it could be tough. So
go on the post.
All right, great stuff from Ramona Shelburne. We have had a great guest list today. The boys have really outdone themselves on a Friday. Dave McMenamin, NBA reporter from ESPN. Jeff Van Gundy joined us. Bags joined us to talk some Giants, and Casey Schmidt, Matt Maiocco, Casey Schmidt himself, and Ramona Shelburne. If you missed any of those, just go to KNBR.com. All right, your final remnants. I did promise you one very caboose-ish story. And I wonder if you have this change in your wardrobe today. We'll explain what it is.
Ping pong ball?
Do you have any ping pong balls and paddles? It's Pop and Lund. We will give you the...
I got Benoit balls. I don't have any ping pong balls.
Oh, geez. I'm glad we have the video now. Those are big. It's Pop and Lund, only here on the Sports Leader.
Here's what's trending now. On KNBR.com.
The great, and I do mean great, Mike Krukow, he joined Murph and Mac to discuss the hot start of Casey Schmidt, who joins the show at 1 o'clock, and how the plan may look when Brandon Crawford comes back. That podcast and more trending right now on the all-new KNBR app.
Top of the afternoon to you. Greg Papa here for Golden State Lumber and Building Materials. What home improvement projects have you been putting off that you're determined to get done this year? If you're looking to add something like a back porch or another room to your home, consider partnering with Golden State. They can help you pick up the pace on your next project, supported by the largest inventory of in-stock materials ready to be delivered to you or anywhere you are in Northern California. When it comes to building codes, the Golden State app helps keep professionals up to date with the ongoing changes to the numerous codes. So talk with your preferred contractor or professional builder and start navigating plans to finish your desired project before fall and football season suddenly arrives. So just start at goldenstatelumber.com, building a better Bay Area since 1954. Golden State, when you succeed, we succeed.
Listen to the sports leader anywhere, anytime. Download the all-new KNBR app. Now back to Papa and Lund live from the KNBR Casino Matrix Studio. Casino Matrix Progressive Jackpots are here. Where are you? Just drop in. Please play responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
One beer. Happy Friday. Let's hope it's a great weekend. The Warriors tonight, if they can win, they force a Game 7 on Mother's Day. That would be awesome. Oh,
gonna cut loose.
I see what you did. Go to KNBR.com, the new KNBR app. You can see the new live stream video from YouTube and Twitch. So make sure you go to those places. You can see us. If you didn't, you missed a number of wardrobe changes for Pop today, depending on what we were talking about.
Wardrobe malfunction.
That was outstanding.
Pulled them all off.
I think I saw
Have
a
you
nipple.
been to Gar Woods in Lake Tahoe?
No.
Make Woody wet again. I have one that actually says make Papa wet again.
Oh, come on.
That hasn't happened in years. The twins are 24, so he is dry.
That is outstanding. I like that.
You got to go up there. They have the famous Wet Woody cocktails. So I want to hear what you're saying about the caboose today. This could be our new thing song, is make Papa wet again. We could go that way.
I like that.
Or Woody. Kirk Reeder in the
Woody, there you
shed.
go. Oh, man, he's got a shed, that
Woody
guy.
Harrelson.
I thought he's got a
shed. You know what? Woody's a Laker fan. Woody Harrelson. I should take this
that.
hat off. Woody Harrelson's a Laker fan.
Before we get to the caboose, remember Pop and Lund sponsored by Pacific Coast Termite, the trusted company that is rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. That's the BBB. Call Pacific Coast Termite, 1-800-PACIFIC. That's 1-800-PACIFIC. All right, we'll give you one before we get out of the door. This one is, I just love, the opening line is amazing.
Table tennis related? Is it table tennis?
Kinda. You know how the caboose is.
Pickleball? Does it involve pickleball?
Yeah, I guess you could say it does in a strange way. And yeah,
love a good cornhole.
It's kind of a combination between pickleball, cornhole, and ping pong is this story.
Ooh, badminton?
I love the it's kind of bad. I love the opening line here. It says it was a zappy ending, not a happy ending. It was a zappy ending. Zappy ending.
Clever. Okay.
It says I'm sorry I'm laughing at this, but a man has died, and there's no way to put this delicately. It says
John.
with a ping pong ball up his bum. He electrocuted himself during a self-pleasuring session that went horribly wrong. This was actually in a journal for doctors. 30-year-old man in the Czech Republic.
30 years of age?
Yeah, 30-year-old guy in the Czech Republic was trying to satisfy multiple fetishes at the same time. So what he did was he had this device that he was using on one part, the front, and then he had ping pong.
And he had to plug that in, and it needed an AC outlet, is that?
Yeah, and he had
How did he electrocute himself?
Well, he had ping pong balls in the back, and he had this device in the front in which he was doing that. And apparently what happened is that...
What was the device in the front, a blender?
It was an electronic device, yes.
What?
That he probably shouldn't have been
flashlight?
using. But anyway, it says here that basically he
electrocuted himself?
Yeah, he electrocuted himself with the
At
fancy
age 30.
item. Only 30.
This is terrible.
Yeah.
This is terrible.
Yeah. So anyway, the doctors in this report though want to warn you because I feel like we're doing everybody a service as we do every day in the caboose pistol. It says that there are at least 500 types of variants of this type of thing that happen every single year across the globe. So just be careful, man. Just because it's a household item does not mean
say that slowly.
A household item, Casey Schmidt, does not mean that you need to use it on yourself.
I'm just very naive. I'm very sheltered.
Yeah, sure.
I do like to make Woody wet again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I just Googled ping pong balls up his ass in the video. Is this a thing, John? It looks like this is much more popular than pickleball. Oh. Wow. I had no idea.
Yes, who is it? Oh, it's our IT guys.
It's Twitch. They want their cameras back. What is this? I am.
Is he searching ping pong balls up his ass?
I'm naive.
Oh, man.
I just satisfied all your HR videos. I'm fine.
It says...
this never came up at any of those. Is this a thing?
I guess they call this guy a kinkster. So when you do this kind of stuff, you're a kinkster. It says, kinksters attempt to simulate themselves by a foreign object, batteries, Christmas ornaments, string, Oh, in 2021.
Mistletoe? Really?
Get this. In 2021, a Michigan man got 6 kidney beans lodged anywhere. I don't want to talk about that.
Wow.
That's it. That's all. That's all.
You had to save the end of the show for this one. Good one.
I love being able to watch you because I know you're searching for the ping pong ball story. So I'll link it to you. But that's what it is.
Wow.
And then finally one more, and I've left 90 seconds for this, and I have to ask you first. You've done all these wonderful wardrobe changes that I've been very much
Which one have you
by.
enjoyed the most, John? Which one have you?
Oh, that's a good question. The Warriors one was pretty good because it was by the day, although I did like the Niners one and I did like the rally cap at the beginning of the show. But
for Holy Schmidt.
I do wonder if you have any Raiders gear left or if you've burned it all. Because did you see where Mark Davis is going to allow Tom Brady to buy a percentage of the Raiders? Are you insane, man? Who's next?
He already bought a percentage of the Aces.
Who's next, though? Like, it's different.
I don't
like,
know.
is Terry Bradshaw going to buy a portion of the Raiders too?
Before he has a transfer, John Elway beat the Raiders more than anybody.
How about Juice? How about OJ?
I think he just needs to say
something.
You got a slice?
OJ was not a Raider. OJ almost got decapitated by Phil Villapiano.
Thank you.
You can't let Tom Brady buy a portion of the Raiders.
OJ's like, I'd like a slice of the Raiders.
When he signs his name, Tom, it was a fumble, Brady,
then you can let him?
Yeah, then the transaction works. Otherwise, no.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
What's up, Greg? You look sharp, dude.
You should saw the changes.
Oh, I've seen the changes. I saw he was rocking the Giants rally cap giveaway.
Sweet.
A little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Look at you. You're all decked out. What's that hat say there?
Warriors gear. Had some Niners stuff when we did the schedule game.
Does that say make ribs healthy again?
Yeah.
Make ribs low cholesterol again?
No, it says make Woody wet again.
Make Woody wet again.
Make Woody wet again.
I like how he just put
what? Make ribs
healthy. He looked right into the camera.
I'm going to put all my advertisers right here on my...
That's a great idea, by the way.
That's what I'm going to do. You forgetting that you're on camera at all?
No. I mean, people were saying you shouldn't drink in the studio. I'm like, this is what I do all the time. So I'm not going to, if I'm going to, it's Friday. If I want to do 8 or 10 tequila shots.
Drink what? Yeah.
The camera's not going to stop me.
Normally I smoke. I can't smoke now because we're on camera, but.
Sure you can.
Just
Jim
bring in
Whelan,
some.
Man, it's baseball game smoking.
There's blueberries. There's blueberries,
butts in the dugout.
Blueberries, brownies. There's all sorts of stuff. They don't know.
Oh yeah.
You're fine.
We'll be in the bag. We got a 5:40 pregame. We'll be set.
So what do you got coming up today?
But obviously a lot of Warrior talk. We got to get into what's going on. Dude, Casey Schmidt. This kid's unbelievable. I mean,
he's my new favorite.
By the way, we all like him. He's our favorite. Nobody's happier than Farhan. He's like Jordan
me.
Poole.
I told him he was on the show, and I said, I got all your cards. Keep it going. No pressure, but you're putting my kid through college.
You and I have been talking about that Casey Schmidt autograph card that you had, that draft pick card for like 3 years, dude. So
it's time.
It's like Jordan Poole needing that first one to go through. Farhan needed one to go through the hoop, and the first one to do it. I mean, the kid's an athlete. He can run. He's throwing as hard as anybody in baseball. O'Neal Cruz out for the year, so he'd be the active leader or the healthy leader as far as velocity on a throw across the diamond, hitting tanks. It's exciting. It's giving you a reason to watch.
National League Roy Copes.
The Roy.
I'm in with you, Riz.
I think it was 750 to 1 when I got those numbers too. So yeah,
750 to 1 on the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah,
how about that?
Yeah. Was screwing around.
Now what?
Probably had too much to drink.
He's the favorite.
Now he's like minus 150.
Yeah, you ain't getting those. All right, Coach.
You're getting good ones. All right, guys.
We'll talk to you in a second. Tolbert and Colb's coming next. Pop, awesome job.
See
love
you
seeing
Sunday.
You on the cam. Yeah, we'll see you Sunday. See you over there on Sunday. Yeah, that's we're feeling good
Bill
about.
Lasky Day.
Mother! Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
Happy birthday to all the mothers out there.
And thanks. Great guest list today. A lot of fun. Ramona Shelburne, Casey Schmidt, Matt Maiocco, Andrew Baggarly, Jeff Van Gundy, Dave McMenamin. Great stuff. Tolbert and Copes right now on KNBR AM and FM San Francisco, the sports leader, a Cumulus media station.
Are you riding the wave?